3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the place show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to a Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app, and streaming live on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN is the number to jump on in. That's 888-710-4476. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb, ZACHGELB. Drew Brees is going to join us coming up 15 minutes from now. Ryan Hot Take Hickey will be in studio with us at 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time, and at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, Danny Kanell, CBS Sports college football analyst, former NFL and college quarterback, is going to drop by on the show. So a whole lot to do right out of the gate. Quick segment here because we got Drew Brees coming up in 15 minutes. I got to just start this show asking a question. And I just saw this, and I'm wondering if I got or if this is real news. So I'll just ask this to Samter, and I'll ask this to Nico. And I just want you to think when I read you the headline, is this a real tweet or was this a parody tweet? Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, have filed for a trademark for the term gold digger with the intention of using it to create a line of jewelry and keychains per Darren Rovell. Samter, do you think that is a real headline or is that a parody headline?
It's got to be a real headline, no?
Nico?
It seems too crazy to be fake, but I'm saying it's fake. I don't think that's real.
So I read that and I go, this has to be parody. This has to be bullcrap. I saw it on Bleacher Report. I'm looking at the handle and I go, oh, maybe this is one of those Fugazi Bleacher Report accounts. No, it's real. It's real, and I don't think it's spectacular. What the heck has happened to my former head football coach in Bill Belichick? I understand you're an old man and you're dating a young woman, a very young woman. But Jordan Hudson, do you have any self-respect? Oh, I think I already know the answer to that. They're going to poke fun at this? Like, isn't that the whole perception, right? The stereotype? When a 70, I think Belichick's 71, 75, however old he is. I think he's older than that. When he's dating Jordan Hudson, who's like 24, wouldn't most people just say, oh, well, she's a gold digger? You know, I'm not a big fan of Kanye West these days, but you could play a song here. It would apply. But this is real. Yeah. Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, the two of them together just creeps me out. They have filed a trademark for the term gold digger with the intention of using it to create a line of jewelry and keychains per Darren Rovell. This year, they also filed trademarks for Chapel Bill and No Days Off, the Belichick Way, and the Bellustrator Trail of Salty Tears.
What?
What the heck are we doing?
What does that last one even mean?
I don't even know. I don't even know whatsoever. Think about the true love that we opened up the show with yesterday. We talked about the beautiful, pure engagement of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And now we are talking about a 70-year-old man in his 70s dating a 24-year-old, and they are filing for the trademark term gold digger to make a jewelry line out of it. Oh, my God. And you know what? I like to usually protect Bill Belichick because I am a Patriot fan. If he loses on Monday night to TCU, it's going to be real ugly on social media come Tuesday. You have your head football coach, who is now more Mr. No Distractions, right? You know, we're not going to have any distractions. You're going to do everything for the team. Tim Tebow, you know, you're getting offered hundreds of thousands of dollars to speak at these engagements. Now you got to be focused on the team. Remember, that's Tebow once asked Belichick to go speak at an event. Belichick said, no, it's going to be a distraction. And now Bill Belichick has his girlfriend making him a joke. It's sad to see. It is. And God bless you, Bill. Right? You're in your 70s. And you're sleeping with the 20-something-year-old. I feel bad for Linda Holiday. I do. You know, his longtime girlfriend is beautiful. And more age-appropriate. Still younger, but more age-appropriate for Bill. And now you have this girl and Jordan Hudson making you look like a clown. And you're letting her do all these things because of the power of the you-know-what. Oh, my goodness gracious. I couldn't believe that when I started the show today. Also, what I could believe, which was awesome, Adam Thielen, right? It was speculated the last few days. We'll just quickly transition to Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is now back with the Minnesota Vikings, back with Cole Lake, Minnesota, got traded for basically nothing from the Carolina Panthers. Adam Thielen the last 2 years has been good with the Carolina Panthers. I'll give him credit. The Vikings moved on from him. The Vikings had a good team last year with a bad ending, right? They were cruising. They were exceeding expectations. They almost had the number one seed in the NFC. They almost won the NFC North. And that season imploded in the last week of the season when they couldn't get the job done up against the Detroit Lions. And you take a glance at where you were when Sam Darnold came running into the locker room towards the end of the season, and Kevin O'Connell's just standing there like he's a proud pop after Sam Darnold won that game up against the Green Bay Packers, and they went to 14-2. And then you looked what happened in a 2-week stretch where they got annihilated by the Detroit Lions 31-9. and then they got annihilated again by the LA Rams 27-9. That Vikings team went from being the darlings of the NFL, a feel-good story, a really good story, to then, wow, wah, 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 what a devastating end to the season. And Sam Darnold then elected, right, to go to the Seattle Seahawks. JJ McCarthy's now the guy there. I know Jordan Addison is out for the first 3 games of the season with the suspension, but when he's back, you have a wide receiving core of Justin Jefferson, who is either the best or the second best wide receiver in the NFL. You have Jordan Addison. You have Adam Thielen. I know they like Jalen Naylor. In your running back room, you got Aaron Jones. I think Jordan Mason, that's a criminally underrated player that they just got coming over from San Francisco. You still have TJ Hawkinson. And on the flip side, no one talks about the defense ever. If it wasn't for that lawsuit, Brian Flores probably would have been a head coach by now again. Brian Flores, the last 2 years with the Minnesota Vikings, he has done a miraculous job. And he's done a really good job for a defense that he took over that was Swiss cheese. And I understand why there's skepticism this year with the Vikings. I understand why there's uncertainty with the Minnesota Vikings and why people are looking at them and they're saying, I don't know what to expect out of JJ McCarthy. But I think JJ McCarthy's playing this season with the bumpers up. Like when you go bowling and you have the bumpers up, obviously your score is going to be a whole lot better than what you actually are. And I'm a believer in JJ McCarthy. I said this at the time when he was getting ready for the draft. If JJ McCarthy got drafted by the Patriots or the Giants, he'd be in and out of the league very quickly. And I said JJ McCarthy needed to get drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. And when you add all the pieces that he has there, with Kevin O'Connell, you got Justin Jefferson, they have Jordan Addison after the 3-game suspension, TJ Hawkinson is there. You know, Adam Thielen, when the season progresses, is going to be number 3 wide receiver. I think JJ McCarthy is going to be more than fine this year. And I believe people are sleeping on the Minnesota Vikings. And JJ McCarthy, to me, is a better quarterback and is at a bare minimum more clutch quarterback than Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold last year, with pretty much the exact same team, he had 14 wins. And it may not be that rich in the regular season, but when I look at the NFC North, everyone's sitting there saying, the Lions are going to win the division. It's not a lot that the Lions are going to win the division. Like, I don't think the Bears will, but you can make a case for all 4 teams at least to win this division this year when you look at the Bears, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Lions. So I look at this Viking season, and people ask me, what should be the realistic expectations? Like, bare minimum, they have to be in the playoffs. But I think you can up that ante even more. Like, I'm not going to sit there and say they need to be in the NFC title game or they need to be in a Super Bowl for me to view this year as a success. But if I'm going to say what's the bare minimum and what's the apex in terms of realistic expectations this year, well, the floor is making the postseason. This roster absolutely should be a wild card team at the worst. But if they're really clicking in the regular season, they almost won that division last year. If they would have just won the game at the end of the regular season up against the Lions, they won that division. But we view the Lions as that much better than the Vikings. I think the Vikings can win the NFC North this year. I'll tell you now, we'll do our predictions next week. The Vikings right now are my pick to win the NFC North. So I'm in on the Minnesota Vikings, and I think that they made their team stronger today by bringing back a familiar face to help them through the first 3 weeks and then become their number 3 wide receiver for the rest of the season in Adam Thielen. I really like what the Vikings are doing. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll take a timeout. When we come on back, a man that will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I know he's up for first-year eligibility for this, this upcoming Super Bowl when they all vote on that. His name is Drew Brees, right? One of the great quarterbacks of all time. He will preview the NFL season with us when we return to the Zach Gelb Show after these short messages.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. We should have Drew Brees, who's in his first year of eligibility for the Hall of Fame, and he'll get in on his first try, joining us coming up in a matter of moments. So excited to get Drew Brees coming up on the show in a matter of moments. By the way, Drew Brees is partnering with global health leader Abbott and the Big Ten Conference to tackle critical blood shortages across the country for the second season of the We Give Blood Drive. The Blood Drive campaign pits all 18 schools against each other in a competition Throughout the football season, with the winning school receiving $1 million from Abbott to advance student and community health initiatives. For more information, visit big10.org/Abbott. And now joining us is a man that was a legendary NFL quarterback, enters his first year of eligibility for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I think we'll all be shocked if he doesn't get in on the first try. That is Drew Brees. Drew, appreciate the time. How you been, my friend?
Yeah, I've been great. How about you?
I've been fantastic. Has that kind of sunk in yet? Obviously, you're a no-brainer, no doubt about it, Hall of Famer, that probably at some point in January or February, you'll get that news that you're going to be getting enshrined in Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't let my mind go there too much until I was eligible, which I know that just happened recently. I was in Canton actually this year to watch Antonio Gates go into the Hall of Fame, and he was a teammate of mine with the San Diego Chargers, and have a bit of a Chargers reunion there, which was a lot of fun. Had a chance to see a lot of the Hall of Fame guys that I either played with or against, though, too. So, honestly, I guess that did, maybe bring up the thoughts of that happening someday and what that might be like. And obviously, that's a really special club and an incredible honor.
And Drew, you know this, you and Sean Payton are going to be linked forever when we look back at NFL history. Sean had a very good year last year with Bo Nix and the Broncos, getting them back to the playoffs. I know you've developed a little bit of a relationship, spending some time with Bo. People throw that out there all the time. Oh, he has his Drew Brees 2.0 now, Coach Payton, and a lot of people compare the two of you. How do you just kind of handle that, and why did you elect to help out Bo Nix and maybe serve a little bit as a mentor to him?
I feel like I have a lot of guys that reach out to me throughout the off season, at the NFL level, college level. Have developed some great relationships with guys, and always happy to help, always happy to be a mentor and help, advise them or coach them through, whatever it is that they're trying to work on. I'm a big fan of Bo Nix. Obviously he's there with my old coach, Sean Payton. It was really exciting to watch him progress last year, from the start of the season to the end. Just to continue to develop more of a comfort level with that offense and all the complexities, that it can provide. Obviously they were rolling quite a bit towards the end of the year too. And so I think going into year two, just identifying those areas where, I know for Bo, he really wanted to work on and really continue to improve and progress. You obviously watch the way they've built that team now. I mean, that defense is stout, solid offensive line, great run game, big receivers to throw to, and then Bo just ready to take, his game to another level. I think they're going to be a real contender this year.
And adjustments are obviously made, right? These defensive coordinators get paid a lot of money, and you always wonder, is there going to be a little bit of a sophomore slump? As a quarterback, someone that's been through it all, right, has been counted out and then did go on to be one of the great quarterbacks of all time. Just what are those conversations like in trying to put yourself in a great position where there's not that much of a drop-off when teams do naturally adjust to you?
Well, to me, the drop-off doesn't happen because people made adjustments, for you. To me, it's more so the attitude that you took into the offseason. I think a lot of guys that have really successful rookie seasons, they spend an offseason where everybody's telling them how great they are, and maybe the like the desire and the motivation and the daily habits and the discipline that comes along with, being a great player year after year and showing that type of consistency and always feeling like you have something to prove. Like, you have to have that mentality in everything that you do. And so regardless of how much success you had the year before, there's always another challenge to, try to knock off or accomplish, or there's always certain things about your game that must improve, like they must improve. And so I think it's more so just that mentality. What mentality did you take on that offseason? Like, did you push yourself? Did you challenge yourself? Did you really, work to get better at the things that you need to get better at? And so that's what will result, I think, in all these guys taking another step up in regards to, where they are this their second season. Also, I think for most of them, you continue to add more to your plate in regards to, how you manage a game, what you're responsible for within the framework of an offense. Obviously, every season's different. You gain players, you lose players. The division around you typically gets better, so there's always new challenges to tackle.
And that division, Drew, is loaded. Obviously, the standard is Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Jim Harbaugh's with Justin Herbert. We'll see what that looks like in year two. We see year two of Sean and Bo, and then Pete Carroll He's still coaching, and he's got some talented players with the Raiders. I laugh, though, and this is no disrespect to the other three teams. I've heard a lot this offseason. Oh, the Chiefs are vulnerable. The Chiefs could lose the AFC West this year. And I can't sit there as long as 15 is healthy and actually envision that the Chiefs do not win the AFC West this year.
Well, I agree with you that Mahomes is such a difference maker. And whenever he's on the field, they're a favorite. They won more one possession games last year than I've ever seen. And they really, to me, they never looked like they were that much better than everybody else, but they would just win. Now, I would say that the Broncos, if you recall, went into Arrowhead and went down the field and were kicking a game-winning field goal that got blocked at the end of the game. So they were right in a position to beat them. And then, unfortunately, at the end of that year, the Chiefs rested their starters, and so you didn't see a real competitive matchup. But I feel like the Broncos, of all the teams in that division, have really played the Chiefs tough. They've always played them tough. Defensively, I feel like they've always gotten after Mahomes a little bit, even though the Chiefs have found a way to win. I just don't think the Broncos have had the firepower on offense recently until now to really combat that. But I think there's definitely an argument to be made that if there's a time to do it, it's now. There's a time to make that push to become the big dog in that division.
Talking about firepower on offense, the Vikings have a ton of it. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison after the suspension, Aaron Jones, TJ Hawkinson, and then today they trade back for an old friend in Adam Thielen. A lot of questions on JJ McCarthy, and I think he's in a great situation. What do you kind of expect out of him as if he has his health, this will be his first year starting at quarterback for Minnesota?
Look, QB's best friend, great defense and great run game, Look, I love Kevin O'Connell. I love his system. I like the way that he's, just his demeanor in running that team. Those guys really seem to respect him and respond to him. Look, we don't know what we have in JJ McCarthy yet, right? I mean, the guy hasn't started an NFL game. He's looked good in the preseason, but obviously coming off an injury, but he's got pieces around him. And so at the end of the day, I think it's just trust the system. Don't try to do too much. Just take it one step at a time. You got a great defense. You got a lot of pieces around you. Just be a great game manager, a great distributor of the ball. When you have opportunities to make plays, But they play in a tough division, for them, right? They got the Packers, contender, Lions, contender, Bears trying to, get over the hump, obviously with their first round pick, Caleb Williams from last year. So, across the board, there's no easy lunch, So we'll see how that plays out for them, but I think they got a lot of good pieces in place.
What do you think the year two response is going to be for Caleb Williams with the Bears now getting teamed up with Ben Johnson?
Well, I mean, everybody would tell you how talented Ben Johnson is. I mean, you can see that just from what he did last year. I love his swagger. I think he's definitely brought that to the team. Look, the Bears have, I think, always had that reputation as, man, we play tough defense, and then offensively, it's just been fairly inconsistent. But now you have this quarterback who can do so many unique things, and he's got some playmakers around him, and now you've got this offensive mind that can really help, kind of dream it all up and coordinate it. And so, look, they've with all those other teams in the NFC North, they've been kind of sitting at the bottom here for a little bit, and I think it's their time to say, all right, we've been flying under the radar. It's time for us to, make a move here. But man, each and every divisional game in that division is so vital.
I want to get your take, and we'll talk about Abbott in just a second. Drew Brees here with us for a few more moments on the Zach Gelb Show. I think the biggest story entering this NFL season, it's wild to say it because he's a third-string quarterback right now, is when is Shedeur Sanders going to play? Joe Flacco's going to start the year. Dylan Gabriel, a third-round pick, who had a very good college career, is the second-string quarterback. The whole hype around Shedeur reminds me a lot of like the following that Tim Tebow had all those years ago when he was in the NFL. Just what do you think the conversations are like in the locker room, and what do you think Shedeur could eventually be whenever he gets that opportunity to quarterback games?
Well, the first thing I'd say is I think the best thing for any young quarterback is to be able to sit behind a veteran guy. And look, Joe Flacco has played a ton of football, and he's played it at a high level. And he's been kind of one of these guys that's been brought into various situations, just to help, kind of right the ship and win games, So I think it's great that these two young quarterbacks in Shadur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel have the chance to sit behind and watch and observe a guy like that, just operate, because he's been doing it for a long time. He's got a ton of knowledge and wisdom. Um, those are two talented young quarterbacks, and it's only a matter of time before they get their opportunity. And so for them, it's, man, be the best teammate that you can be, work your tail off, do everything you can to continue to grow and develop. Be ready for your opportunity, because you never know when it comes. And when it does, you may only get limited opportunities, limited shots. So be ready.
Now it's Arch Manning's time at Texas. They opened up the season with a big one up against Ohio State at the end of the season. If he gets through the whole season as the starter and is healthy, how do you think we're talking about Arch Manning?
Well, there's so much hype around this guy, and I feel like I know him pretty well just because my kids in New Orleans went to the same school as Arch Manning. I watched Arch Manning play in high school. And you could tell from the time he was a freshman in high school that he's got a lot of traits, and obviously you look at the family lineage and it all makes sense, right? But look, I think he's been guided. I think he's been guided well. I think he went to a great program in the University of Texas with a great coach in Steve Sarkisian. Obviously a place that really, really loves their football. I grew up in Austin, Texas. I used to go to Texas games, walk down the street and sit in the bleachers, so like, I know that atmosphere, and I know the way they, try to set you up for success. I think for him, it's just trust the process. Don't be distracted by all of this attention and all this other stuff, man. You just focus on the job at hand, being the greatest teammate you can be to your team. You've got a ton of talent around you, continue to grow and develop, value the knowledge and experience that you can gain. I wouldn't be quick to get out, even if he has a phenomenal year. I wouldn't be quick to get out of University of Texas. I mean, I think stay there another year, get as much of this experience under your belt. Because look, you're playing in the SEC too. I mean, you're playing against some of the best talent. These are the guys that you're going to see at the next level anyway, right? In other words, don't be in a rush to get out of college. Value the opportunity to gain this experience. The guys that have the best chance for success in the NFL at the quarterback position are guys that were multi-year starters in college, right? Bo Nix, 61 starts. Brock Purdy, 50 some odd starts. Joe Burrow transfers and gets two great years. Jaden Daniels, Arizona State, gets 2 great years. Like all these guys that are having success in the NFL now, even if they were transfers, were having, lots and lots of success, or lots of experience.
Now, if the Saints have the number 1 overall pick this year, would you change that tune and see Arch in New Orleans?
I think that's what the fans want, But I want to see New Orleans and the Saints have a ton of success this year with, Spencer Rattler, and if it's Tyler Shuck at some point, whoever it is, man, I want to see these guys succeed.
Tell me what you're doing today with the fine folks at Abbott.
Yeah, this is awesome. So Global Healthcare Leader Abbott and Big Ten Conference have put together this Give Blood Drive campaign to really help raise awareness around giving blood. I think a lot of people don't recognize just how important that is, and how we're really in a national blood shortage right now. And so the more blood that we can give, the better. Every 2 seconds in the U.S., somebody needs blood. Your blood donation can save up to 3 lives, which is incredible to think about. Basically, what's better than to turn that into a competition as well amongst all the Big Ten schools? So we're encouraging everybody to give blood, but if you have an affiliation with a Big Ten school, you can go give blood at a blood center and then go and register that blood donation at big10.org/Abbott. And the school that donates the most blood will receive $1 million towards student and healthcare initiatives around the university. So really a tremendous campaign, and encouraging everybody to go out and give blood.
Well, we appreciate you sharing that info with us today and also coming on the show. Thanks so much, Drew. Be well.
You guys, Zach. Thanks.
There you go. Drew Brees with us on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I think his message to Arch Manning is that's always been a divisive topic right now. And I don't think you have a right or wrong answer here. Like, if Arch Manning goes on out this year and wins a Heisman Trophy or a national championship, you would think he's going back, leaving Texas and going to the NFL. But I wonder, with how high the success is supposed to be and how high the hype is for Arch Manning, what are the bare minimum things where he's like, okay, I'm good with Texas and I'm going to the NFL? And I keep on saying either win the Heisman Trophy or win a national championship. That's what I think it is. But also with that being said, when I look at this right now, that perspective by Drew, how he says I would not be in a rush to leave, that's also from someone that is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Good stuff for Drew Brees. Ryan Hot Take Hickey will join us in studio next. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And it's brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance, who protects small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. The Chiefs will open the season without Rashee Rice, who was suspended 6 games following his 2024 car accident when he was racing another car and traveling near 120 miles per hour. Fortunately, there were no deaths in that crash. Several receivers have new homes. Adam Thielen is heading back home. The 35-year-old reacquired by the Vikings in a deal with the Panthers. Carolina gets a 5th-round pick in 2026, a 4th-rounder in 2027. Kendrick Bourne is looking for one after being granted his release by the Patriots. And the Jaguars added a receiver today, acquiring Tim Patrick from the Lions for a late-round draft choice. Jacksonville had been looking for a big target for Trevor Lawrence, and the 6'5", 31-year-old certainly fills the bill. Baseball today, the Yankees with 6 home runs. They lead the Nationals 11-1 in the top of the 7th. Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger going back-to-back in the 3rd for Judge's 41st home run of the season. The Braves are routing the Marlins 12-1 in the bottom of the 7th. Jurickson Profar with a pair of homers for Atlanta. And also right now it's Tampa Bay with a 3-2 lead over Cleveland, top 9. I'm Rich Jack. 'You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The piping hot takes of Ryan Hot Take Hickey do not, I repeat, do not reflect the views of the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's Hick at Night Sunday. I'm combing our hair with moose gel and spray. The takes are so hot, hot, hot. Sometimes it's right, usually not. This best segment is coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey head. Hot takes and hair gel on a Sunday night. Hickey's got the taste that probably aren't right. Dropping a teaser for what's coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey heads. Talking Penn State while Stu's smoking kush, but Hickey is always the number one bush. You will nicer and moist, might get more sober than Stu. We only joke of us, we like you, but I have to ask, is it true? Is your hair held together by pace and loop? Oh, Hickey's takes are coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey heads.
This is Ryan Hickey's time to shine. AKA, we need him to perform for us. We need him to make a lot of wrong predictions that we end up mocking him for. It is a Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, but college football is back. The NFL is right around the corner as it does kick off coming up on Thursday in South Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial Field with the Eagles and the Cowboys. So now joining us, he is the executive producer of the Writer Than You radio program. He has his own show now on Saturdays, I believe.
Starting next week.
Not this week?
This is the last week of Sunday afternoons before Iron Football comes in and bumps my show to Saturdays.
So you'll be doing Saturdays from 12 to 5 p.m.
That's
Eastern
right.
Time.
That's right. Right in the middle of some hopefully good college football action.
So that is Ryan Hot Take Hickey. Hickster, how are you?
Hello, Z-Man. Well, excited.
Source tells me you're annoyed today.
Annoyed? About what?
You thought you had the biggest engagement of the summer, and then Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift usurped you yesterday.
I mean, I still would say I'm number one. I think they're playing for second place along with some others. But, look, if you want to get married, I guess it's, unfortunately, I guess I didn't corner off the summer market.
Do we have a date yet?
No date. No date,
Is
no
that
venue.
a little concerning?
No.
Okay.
We're both taking our time.
Well,
What's the rush?
I'm just saying,
maybe we'll go to 2027.
Like I had a friend that just got engaged 2.5 weeks ago. They already got me the date. They already have a date picked out, venue decided. 2026 is the wedding.
So part of it is we're not sure it's going to be 2026, 2027.
You guys may wait a whole year.
We may wait. We're not.
May do a full year engagement and then some before getting married.
That's right. Almost maybe 2 years. We'll see. I guess it would be over 2 years if it's in 2027 in like September area. We'll see. August, July, sometime. I don't know. Well, we're in
Do you
no
guys
rush
think it'll
right
be
now.
a couple that is engaged for like 10 years and then get married? Or you think by
no.
the end of 2027, you will have a ring on your finger?
We will not be like Pam Beasley from The Office with Roy, where she's engaged for.
Look at you.
It's my favorite. Oh, I love that show.
I know, but you're usually terrible with TV shows and movies, and
That's
you're,
one of the
you're
few
coming
I
with
got.
the reference today.
One of the few I got. We will not be Pam Beasley. I can promise you that. If we ever had awards here at Infinity Sports Network, I would not win the longest engagement award after like the first year.
Okay. What? Who would win?
I don't.
I didn't know if that was a shot at someone.
Oh, no. That was just another Office reference. Every year at the Dundies, Pam always wins the longest engagement. She's very upset about it. That would not be me after like next year.
Texas, Ohio State,
Yes.
Saturday. The Ohio State Buckeyes are 1.5-point favorite. The number one team in the coaches poll and the AP poll is an underdog on the road.
That's right.
In the shoe. It's not like they're playing whoever Penn State plays for the first 3 weeks of the season. But Texas against Ohio State, who's your pick? I'm
taking Texas. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a very ugly, sloppy game. 27-24, 27-21, something like that. Texas's defense, best unit in this game. I think they get the job done, win on the road.
How do you think we're talking about Arch Manning at the end of the year? Because we just had Drew Brees on, and he has seen a lot of Arch Manning, and he's a fan of Arch Manning. But he said, I would not be in a rush to go to the NFL. And that was that whole debate with Archie Manning, who said, hey, Arch is definitely going to be back next year. And then, his grandson, Arch Manning, then came out and basically said, well, I don't know where Grandpa got that information from. So at the end of the season, we are talking about Arch Manning as what?
I think a lot of people are going to say disappointing. I think in large part because the expectations are
too damn
almost
high.
Unachievable. Like, I get the excitement, and it's the last name, and it's been highly hyped, and it's been sitting for 2 years. It only builds the excitement. But, like, this kid still is going to be a first-time starter. There's a tough schedule in the SEC. And also, too, not enough people talk about it. There's a lot of unproven talent around him. He has 4 new offensive linemen from a team last year that had one of the best offensive lines, lost 4 guys. You have, receivers that now are being asked for bigger roles this year compared to their entire careers. Like, it's not just Arch that's new and he's plugging in to a team that's ready to go. It's a lot of inexperience. And I think what we see in college football, a lot of inexperience leads to some clunkiness, some disappointment. I think he's going to be fine, but people think that he's going to go out there and run away, and be the basically the greatest quarterback we've ever seen in our life. I think you're going to be in for a rude awakening.
Does Texas win the SEC, or who are you taking?
I'm picking Texas to win the SEC.
You see, like, this is what I don't understand. And I agree with you, but then I disagree with you.
Okay.
You just sounded very negative on Arch Manning.
I'm being realistic because the expectations, I think, are absurdly high.
So that's where I agree and disagree with you. Like, I think for this year to be a success for Arch, he has to do one of 2 things. And this shows you how high the expectations are. He has to either win the national championship or win the Heisman Trophy. So you think he's going to be a bit disappointing this year, but you still think he's going to be really damn good. So my question to you is, Texas does what this year? The team.
I think they go back to the Final Four.
And then they lose in the semifinal?
Yes. Whether it's a Penn State or Clemson, I think those 2 teams with their experience and talent, I think, are in a little bit better position. But I think they're right back in the mix to win a national title this year.
I think there's an enormous amount of pressure on this weekend.
Who's that?
Alabama. Alabama should beat Florida State. But if Alabama is still Alabama, and I picked Alabama to win the national championship this year, defeating Clemson. But if Alabama is still Alabama, you shut Thomas Castellanos' mouth up, and you just destroy that team, and you cover the 13.5 points. Just winning this weekend is not good enough for me if I'm an Alabama fan. Alabama this weekend has to cover that 13.5 point spread.
I think it's Matt. Yeah, I think they will. But sure. I'm not going to make sweeping judgments on Alabama based on a week 1 game on the road in a hostile environment.
But you can't have Thomas Castellanos disrespect you like that and treat you like you're South Harmon Institute of Technology and not give them not make that kid shut up. You got to destroy them.
What if the defense destroys them? But what if the offense is not going and they win 21-13?
No. Ty Simpson's going to be good this year.
He might be good, but I'm saying, especially in college football, you see a lot of these guys inexperienced, the nerves on the road. Like, it's not like you just come in right away and, you're going to light it up. There are some struggles. And, again, he could be a lot better in November and December compared to where he is week 1 in September. Again, you're on the road. It's a tough game. I think Alabama's going to win. I think they will, to your point, cover the 14-point spread. But first, you're talking, and they win 24-10. That covers the spread.
That covers the spread, you dope.
If they win 21-10, am I going to say, oh, my God, Alabama sucks? Or am I concerned? I'm probably not.
I thought, if anyone's going to be stupid with math on this show, you think it'd be the kid that went to Temple, not the kid that went to Penn State.
Oh, it was a small slip. I don't want to repeat the score I said before, but I should have just made it easier.
At LSU Clemson. Who's the real Death Valley?
LSU.
Okay.
At least in my mind.
I agree with you as well. LSU Clemson, who wins this game? You taking the Tiger family with Brian Kelly, or are you going with Dabo Swinney?
I think Dabo gets it done. This one, I think it could be. LSU is very good. I think it could get a little ugly. I like Clemson. I feel a little nervous for how much I like Clemson in this game, which means take LSU on the road. Probably a big win for them.
You're selling your head. It's great.
I feel like this could be like a 31-17 shellacking, where yet again we're sitting there, Brian Kelly, after week 1, where he gets his ass handed to him, sitting here saying, what the hell is this guy doing?
And week 1 so far for Brian Kelly, they lost to Florida State on that extra point, right?
Yep, that was blocked.
Then they lost to Florida State again. They got annihilated,
Smoked.
45-24. And then last year they lost to USC 27-20, which was a fun back and forth game with Garrett Nussmeier and who was the USC quarterback?
Miller Moss.
Yeah, Miller Moss.
Out in Las Vegas.
Who's now at Louisville right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
And did not have many better moments than that one in week number 1.
Other games this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, Notre Dame, Miami. This one, I think, is a fascinating game. Notre Dame is the better team, but there's a lot of question marks. What is C.J. Carr going to be?
Mm-hmm.
What is Carson Beck with a little redemption now out there and some adversity? What is he going to do? I feel like part of me, my brain says Notre Dame.
Okay.
And then my gut, whenever I say that, is like, everyone's going to say Notre Dame. Maybe you should go with Miami. Like if you put a gun to my head, I'm saying Notre Dame. Where do you go on this? After Notre Dame, by the way, they embarrassed you last year because you made all these bold proclamations and then you had to wear a leprechaun suit.
That's right.
Because Penn State, once again, choked in a big spot up against the Fighting Irish.
That they did. Despite them ripping out my heart for probably the most it's ever been ripped out for Penn State, I think Notre Dame on the road wins. I feel good with their offensive line. I think they're going to run the ball a ton, which takes pressure off C.J. Carr. I like their defense, and I do not trust Carson Beck at all. There's a lot of talent lost from Miami from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously headlined by Cam Ward. I don't, to me, buy into the hype that Miami has, that I think a lot of people around the country are sort of either trying to force feed or kind of falsely see. I don't think Miami's honestly very good. I like Notre Dame on the road here, even in the orange out.
What do you think Bill Belichick's going to do at UNC? So they play TCU Monday night, isolated spot, 8 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. Jordan Hudson today filed for the trademark Gold Digger, and she's coming out with, I guess, a jewelry line. She just annoys me. She's making Bill Belichick a sad, pathetic human being. Like, you could be 70-something and date a 24-year-old and not look sad and pathetic. But what the coach who's all about limit the distractions is letting this girl do. She annoys me. And Bill, you need to wear the pants once again. You are like the ultimate wear the pants type of coach. She's wearing the pants right now. This is disgraceful, Bill Belichick. But this year, I look at the UNC schedule. Like, I can't tell you much. Like, UNC is one of those teams. I don't think people could tell you much about them.
Right.
But you look at Belichick being their coach, and their schedule is TCU, Charlotte, Richmond, UCF, Clemson, California, Virginia, Syracuse, Stanford, Wake Forest, Duke, and NC State. Like, Clemson, they're expected to lose. Duke, I think, is an underrated team this upcoming season. You know, TCU, Sonny Dykes, not that long ago, was in a national championship game. Fran Brown has been a good coach. But I look at that schedule. If Bill Belichick is still Bill Belichick, bare minimum, they got to be in a bowl game. Like, they should be a 7 or 8 win team just by having Bill Belichick, one would think.
I would say for him this year, anything over 6 wins is a win. Like, if they go to Bill, if they're 6-6, I would say it's a win. You tell me, to your point, I don't know a lot about, like, I don't know what to expect from this team. They could, with that schedule, with an upset, maybe go and sit there and be like 8-4 if we're talking like the best case scenario, which I think is not crazy.
Yeah.
I think anything after 6 wins is gravy for Bill in year 1.
Is there a team right now in college football that maybe you don't hear a lot of people talking about, that you go, you know what, I want to give this team some shine. I want to give them the Hot Take Hickey endorsement.
Oh, all right.
Now, you can't give me Oklahoma.
No, I will not.
You already started. This would have been the quickest Hickey hex if John Mateer got suspended for this gambling stuff. And you're lucky it was just on Venmo and he wasn't doing something with like one of the sports books where they could actually track it. But you were Oklahoma this, Oklahoma that, and then someone investigates John Mateer's.
It's like,
yes, it would.
It's not like I'm hyping him up and then he just flops as a
and
player.
then something happens.
If he
that
gets
would
suspended for sports gambling back from when he was doing it in 2022, I think the hex does not count there.
You haven't realized this
I think
yet.
the heck should only count and does only count for on the field results.
You haven't realized this yet. You don't make the rules on the hex. You don't.
I can't be held
You just hex the
responsible
teams.
for what a guy did 3 years ago that may or may not have been legal or illegal. That we're just finding out
but
about now.
The moment we find out about it, the moment you give them the endorsement, and then it just so happens that this guy had some gambling stuff going on. Okay, what do you got? Underrated team this year.
The Washington Huskies.
Ooh.
Really good quarterback in DeMond Williams now, finally taking over. Super dynamic guy, reliable running back, reliable receiver. And their schedule is very manageable. They have 3 tough games. They play Oregon, they play Ohio State, they play Illinois, all within the top 15. But all 3 of those games in Seattle. Why is that important? Won their last 20 straight home games. You can win 1 out of those 3. Tough. Win 1 out of 3. Been a very good home team. Take care of business in what is a manageable out of conference and rest of Big Ten schedule. You're 10-2. I think you're in.
I don't say Jed Fish is a friend to the show because we only had him on 1. You got to be on here at least 3 times to be a friend to the show, but I really hope you don't hex him because I like Jed Fish. I do.
Look, they play Ohio State in a month. And you get him on the show, check that second box, and maybe opens the door for sometime in November when you're like, wow, who would have saw Washington coming? Oh, that's right. 1 man.
If you're looking for a true dark horse, I'll give you one.
Okay.
And you hate their head coach. I love their head coach.
I wonder who this is.
I think it's fun. Their quarterback last year got hurt. They were rolling. Kyle Lewis, projected first-round pick, first-team All-American. They have another first-team All-American, one of the most explosive players in the country, the running back Desmond Reed. Rasheem Biles, who they call Sheen Biles, is a tackle for loss machine. I think Pitt this year if they're playing Clemson, I don't think they'll win the ACC, but if they're playing Clemson in the ACC championship game, I would not be surprised. Your thoughts?
I have to go through a schedule. Honestly, Pitt's one of those teams I've not looked at in depth. So
that's just your Penn State elitist attitude there.
It's not an elitist attitude.
Yeah,
I don't think Pitt's, for the most part, has given you a lot of reason outside of 1 year to care.
Duquesne, Central Michigan, West Virginia, Louisville, Boston College, Florida State, Syracuse, NC State, Stanford, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Miami. Tough last 3 games.
That is very tough. You're going to have to, yes.
But before that, not
and some
crazy.
toss-ups. Syracuse, I think, could be a toss-up sort of game. Louisville could be a toss-up game back. I mean, with Rich Rod turning over that roster.
Yeah, but if they're like a 9-win team, I don't think anyone should be surprised.
Okay, I can sit here and say 9 wins. Okay.
All right, we'll do NFL next week. He's Ryan Hot Take Hickey. Penn State, they're playing Nevada this week. Do they cover the 44.5?
I'm going to say so because James Franklin's going to probably leave the starters in longer than he should. Classic James Franklin.
Is he doing that loser
He's a
stuff
better
that he does?
dream.
Nevada.
Yes.
Ugh, he's insufferable.
The focus 1-0 this week, so I got to worry about just going 1-0.
And they're your national championship pick?
They are.
Up against Clemson?
Clemson.
Okay.
Lock it up.
Yeah. Okay. Danny Kanell, a true college football analyst, will join us next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, we got the appetizer. Last weekend, we saw Iowa State defeat Kansas State in Week 0, and then somehow, after the game, Avery Johnson's father and brother did fight one another, which was just absolutely crazy. And we got all this stuff going on with what Big Noon kickoff's going to look like with Michigan and Dave Portnoy going up against Ohio State. And now the real fun starts as we have a mega, and I mean a mega weekend of college football with Week 1. Check out betonline.ag for updated college football playoff win totals, conference, Heisman, and college football Week 1 lines. And now joining us is great job representing betonline.ag and also calling games and doing all the studio work for CBS Sports HQ. That is Danny Kanell. Danny, how are you?
I am fantastic, Zach. I share your enthusiasm, the excitement. It's kind of like Christmas morning. You're excited. Can't wait to open all your gifts. Starts Thursday night with some good action, and then it kicks off with a phenomenal weekend of college football.
When you were playing, like, I'm not expecting your family members to fight one another, but did they ever get into a fight with the fan? Because when I first read this Avery Johnson thing, I go, oh, his dad and his brother rolled up on someone that said something controversial about him. And then I go, oh, no, they were fighting one another.
that was one of the more bizarre storylines that unfolded after that game. I mean, nonetheless, they're on the streets of Dublin, like in a puddle on the street, like with the pubs right along the line. That never in a million years would have happened to me. Like, my dad was so like laid back, so unemotional during games. He was just there to support me. You know, my family members were there just to support me. They never would have gotten in any sort of argument. But I did hear some horror stories from them talking about other parents, and they kind of didn't like sitting with the family section, whether it was in college or the NFL, because sometimes that's where some of the harshest criticism comes from. You get family members who get very emotional. They react over the top, and it can be a combustible mix because emotions are running high. You know, I don't know if alcohol was involved or not, but a lot of times you're at a game, you're taking it in, you're enjoying something to drink. The biggest and probably the saddest part about this is that Avery Johnson has to deal with that. You know, his family has to put out a statement, and then it becomes a distraction for you as a player. So that was the thing that bummed me out for Avery Johnson, who, like, what were they arguing about? Like, he played well enough that I know it's pretty big throw game. That's the thing that kind of breaks my heart for Avery Johnson, because now he's got to hear about people asking about it.
Danny Kanell here with us. You know, I love you. I have nothing against Florida State. I'm a big Mike Norvell fan, and I hope they have a good season. But all this talking Thomas Castellanos is doing about against Alabama, it kind of makes me want to see Alabama not only win, but then cover the spread. If Alabama is Alabama, they whoop up on your Florida State Seminoles this weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're probably right. I mean, Alabama's got one of the best offensive lines in the country. He's got one of the best defensive lines in the country as well at Alabama, and it could be a pretty overwhelming, matchup for Florida State along the fronts. But the one thing that Thomas Castellanos brings to the table, he is a dynamic run threat. And so he was talking big smack, which I hated. Like, that was not my mentality. That was not Coach Bowden's mentality, who I played for. It was very much compliment the opponent, make them feel like you have no chance. He would even tell us, don't listen to what I'm saying about the game, because I'm going to make it sound like we hardly have a chance. To go in there and kick the hornet's nest, which is essentially what Thomas Castellanos did by saying, they're not the same without Nick Saban. Kalen DeBoer is overrated. I'm going to make plays against this defense. I have no idea why you would wake up that team, which is already coming in a little bit surly based on the way last season, the way it unfolded for Alabama in their first year with Kalen DeBoer. But I do think it could be an overwhelming matchup. But I am a little bit more of a believer in that Norvell in week one, with a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator, could provide some problems for Alabama. My biggest fear for them, can they hang on for 4 quarters? I think they could keep it close for a half. My concern is second half and longer, when Alabama can really start to lean on them and you start to see some of those advantages in the trenches.
Danny Kanell here with us. Texas, Ohio State, we're all waiting for it. Everyone wants to see what Arch Manning looks like from start to finish. Before we break down the game, at the end of the year, how do you think we look back as Arch Manning as the first year, his first time as the full-time starter at Texas?
Oh, I think you're going to see such overreactions to Arch Manning all season long. I think it's going to be a roller coaster ride. Like, there aren't many quarterbacks who have been able to step in and just everything goes smoothly. I don't like their chances to win at the Shoe. It's his first start, in this type of atmosphere. I know he played a lot last year, but he's still new to this spot. And people have cast aside Quinn Ewers acting like he's a second-rate quarterback. He played really big in big moments for Texas. I think back to 2 years ago on the road in Tuscaloosa, where he had 3 touchdown passes and beat Nick Saban in Alabama. Last year, he goes into the big house, into Michigan, plays like out of his mind, comes up in big situations, and then maybe none more of a bigger situation in the playoffs against Arizona State when he converted a 4th down throw to extend that game. Otherwise, Texas is getting bounced by an inferior opponent. They leaned on Quinn Ewers a lot. I think it'll be a little bit of a bumpier ride. I'm a believer in year 2 for Arch Manning, that's when you see them as a true national title contender. But the one thing he's got going for him is they have a roster which is absolutely stacked around him.
Danny Kanell here with us. We'll talk a little bit, obviously, as we continue through this segment about the fine folks at betonline.ag. Make sure you check them out for updated college football playoff, win totals, conference, Heisman, and college football week 1 lines as well. Who's your pick this year to win the Big Ten? Are you rocking and rolling with Ohio State, or are you going elsewhere, maybe Penn State or Oregon?
I'm going, I think it's interesting that you brought up Oregon because I think they're getting completely overlooked. I am a big believer in going with the known over the unknown. Ohio State has a ton of uncertainty. They're breaking in, both play callers on both sides of the ball. Brian Hartline steps in on offense. They make Matt Patricia the defensive coordinator. And Oregon is replacing a lot of pieces, including Dylan Gabriel, who was outstanding at quarterback. Penn State, of all the teams that have questions, Penn State has the answers. And I'm going to go with the team that I feel like has the answers. The big question mark for them, of course, can James Franklin take that next step? He's 1-15 against top 5 opponents. And if they want to break through and win the Big Ten and win a national championship, they're going to have to change that narrative. But I played for a coach that was getting criticized for not winning the big game in Bobby Bowden. Dabo Swinney took a lot of heat for a long time at Clemson for not winning the big game. He eventually got there. I'm a believer that Penn State is going to do it this year. I think Drew Aller takes a big step forward. They went out and got him 3 wide receivers in the transfer portal that are all pretty dynamic. Aller's playing in his second year with the new offensive coordinator, Andy Koltnicki, who he did put up pretty good numbers with. The one thing that Drew Aller has to do, and he hasn't done yet, he's got to step up on the big stage because he has vanished on the bigger stages, but I think he does. I think he's ready for the challenge, and those running backs in the backfield should make it really difficult for opponents to make them one-dimensional. I think Drew Aller has a big year, and I think Penn State gets it done.
The other day, Danny Kanell, someone asked me who I think is the best coach in college football, and I released my top 10. And for the last, year, ever since Nick Saban retired, even when Nick Saban was there at the end, people were putting Kirby Smart in that one spot. I always had Saban in front of Kirby Smart. Kirby had that tag last year, and they were supposed to be the next Alabama, and they haven't won a national championship the last 2 seasons. And I think Clemson can win the Natty this year. I'm not saying Georgia can't. Do you think it's fair to now view Dabo once again as maybe the best coach in college football? Because I had him 1, then at 2, I ended up putting Kirby Smart, and then 3, I ended up having Ryan Day.
Yeah, I think that's a great list. And I think Dabo Swinney, people forget because they haven't maintained their standard. Like, they have not fallen off the map. I mean, they made the playoffs last year. They've still been at the top of the ACC, for the majority of the time that he's been there, including last year, which was a subpar season. They were 9-3 in the regular season, and yet somehow they found a way to make the playoff by winning the ACC. The thing that impresses me is he's done it the old school way, right? He has not lived in the portal the way a lot of other programs live. He has not made any sort of compromises on character concerns. Like, he holds his players to a standard. If players fall out of line or they, have any trouble off the field, he doesn't stand for it. So that's why I appreciate about Dabo Swinney is that he's been able to kind of buck that trend of just going and get the best rosters. He has a top 10 roster every single year, but he doesn't have a top 2 or 3 roster every year, which is something that Ryan Day and Kirby Smart absolutely have every single season. So I do think there is something about him being able to maximize the talent he's been with and build a culture which does not throw in the towel on him or that program, no matter what the season looks like. And I think this is a real testament because I do think, and by the way, the top 3 coaches you have are the only 3 coaches that have national titles in the entire landscape. Like, it is not easy to win national championships, which is something I think college football fans of restless fan bases need to be reminded of more often than not.
And I'm going with Alabama this year. I think they're going to win the national championship. I think in some way people are sleeping on them, and it's too much of an overreaction after year 1 with Kalen DeBoer. I have Alabama defeating Clemson in the Natty. How about yourself?
So I've got Penn State winning the national championship. I think the SEC could struggle to find their way in the playoff, in the national championship. Again, it's been 2 years since we've seen them even play for a national championship. I do think they're lacking that kind of standard bearer. Remember, for a long time, Georgia was a heavy favorite or Alabama was a heavy favorite. And then you saw in 2019 an LSU team, which was one of the best offensive rosters of all time, with Joe Burrow essentially pitching the perfect season. Now with the new portal and NIL, the talent has spread out a lot through the SEC, where it's a lot more evenly balanced, and they aren't able to collect the talent the way they once were. And without like a team that looks like the clear cut, I have Alabama winning the SEC. And if Ty Simpson works out to be a difference maker, then they absolutely could win the national championship. I haven't seen enough from him. He's had multiple opportunities to win the starting job, couldn't beat out Jalen Milroe, which is no harm in that. The guy ended up being a third-round pick and a really good quarterback. I have my reservations if he's a national championship winning quarterback. I think he can win the SEC because of the amount of talent that's around him, but I'm going to go ahead and go back to what I said before. I've got Penn State winning the national championship because I think they have the most returning. They also have a very similar path that we saw from Michigan 2 years ago and Ohio State last year, and some similarities. The non-conference is extremely easy. They play 3 cupcakes. The majority of their schedule, they're going to be favored in almost every single game. Maybe the game in Ohio State at the Shoe, they won't be favored, but they play Oregon at home. Every other game they should be favored. So the schedule sets up perfectly. And then they have a mindset. Like what you heard out of Michigan and Ohio State, a lot of guys returning that could have left to the NFL decide to come back to do something special. They're preaching that same mantra. They want to do something special for James Franklin, and that's why I think they do this year.
How do you think we're talking at the end of the year, Danny Kanell, about Bill Belichick and now also Coach Prime without Shedeur Sanders and without Travis Hunter?
So I feel way less certain about what you're going to feel about Bill Belichick. Like, I think this could be boom or bust for Carolina. And because I do think we have to remember the guy's the greatest football coach that we've seen in our lifetime. Like, with the Super Bowl titles, albeit he hasn't done it at the college level, but the guy knows football. And as a defensive mastermind, I would think he would have some edge schematically against some of the college coaches that he's going to face, but he doesn't have the best roster. So, that has me a little bit tentative on him. But I think it's either a 4-win season or maybe a 9 or 10-win season. I don't know if they're going to have, an average 7-win season or an 8-win season. I just that's a feeling that I have. Now, with Coach Prime, I actually think he's built this program up where you kind of have to trust him living in the portal. So, yes, I know he did lose Shedeur, and he lost Travis Hunter, one of the most dynamic football players we've seen in the past 20 years. But he's also done pretty well in the portal once again. And with him announcing Caden Salter to be the starter, I think that's actually a really good thing. He's a quarterback who 2 years ago led Liberty to an undefeated season, threw for almost 3,000 yards, rushed for 1,000 yards. I think the offense is going to look completely different than it did with Shedeur. They were last in the country in rushing yards. I think you might see that flip somewhat. They're going to rely on Caden Salter to run the football. They want to be more physical. I talked to Marshall Faulk, their new running back coach, Hall of Famer. He said, we're going to be running the ball. I'm going to make sure of it. So I think they've done well enough in the portal, bringing in critical pieces, where they're not going to have a massive drop-off. I mean, their win total is 5.5, so everybody thinks it's going to be a reset year. I actually like them to go over that, be 6 or 7 wins, which if you look at historically, they have not had back-to-back winning seasons in 20 years. I actually think Deion has a chance to bring that to Boulder this season. And if you can provide that stability, watch out, because we know what he can do recruiting. If he can show they're going to be competitive and they're not going away and be really fluctuating too much, they're going to be a team to watch out for the foreseeable future.
Are you buying Miami? I know they played Notre Dame week 1. There's a lot of questions around Carson Beck. Your view on Mario Cristobal and Carson Beck in that partnership?
I am not buying Miami. But I almost feel like some of it, watch out for the Florida State Seminole in me. Like, it's hard for me to look and admit they were good. Although I thought they were a great team last year. I loved Cam Ward. Here's why I think I'll give you the positives for Miami. A year ago at this time, Carson Beck was one of the favorites for the Heisman Trophy. He was on everybody's top, 5 picks in the NFL draft. But then he fell off. He struggled with interceptions last year. Georgia falls short of their goals. He gets hurt. He's coming off a major elbow surgery. And so people kind of forgot about him. Statistically, even with all those interceptions, he was almost identical to Garrett Nussmeier, a team that everybody loves out of LSU, that they think he can win the national championship. All he's got to do is clean up his receptions. If Carson Beck can do that, and if he returns to form health-wise, he's got enough talent around him against a lighter schedule than he faced at Georgia in the SEC, where he could. There's 2 things for me. One, I've seen it time and time again, Miami falls short of expectations. Like, the time to buy Miami is when people don't think they're going to be good. They haven't handled this well. And the other thing that concerns me, and this is the great unknown, because I do think Carson Beck, by all accounts, he's kind of back throwing the football, ripping it around. the intangible, the X factor. Is he a leader of men? Because I was a little bit concerned when he got hurt. Georgia players were really excited to see Gunnar Stockton came in, and they were like, we're going to be better. And Georgia also let him walk out the door. They could spend with anybody. They could have kept Carson Beck if they wanted to. I just felt like there was something missing from a leadership aspect with Carson Beck. I'll be very curious to see if he can get that team to rally around him, which is why I think that Notre Dame game you mentioned is so huge. If they win that game, I'll be a buyer in Miami because I think they might be a front-running type of team where if they win, they kind of get the enthusiasm of the fan base, the players to buy in. But if they lose, I do worry about them bouncing back from adversity and the question marks coming to surround that program saying, oh, is this just another year they fall short of expectations? So I think that Notre Dame game is huge for them. They're playing at home. They're just a 2.5-point dog. Notre Dame has a lot of question marks. That game is massive for the Hurricanes.
And last thing I'll ask you, and I just want to sneak in an NFL point here and also crosses over from college a year ago on the way out with Danny Kanell. Last year I got the ick with Jackson Dart, especially in that game up against Florida where they had a chance to go to the college football playoff. I didn't think he should have been a first-round pick. Then he plays two good preseason games, and people are loving Jackson Dart, and I'm in New York, and it's not a matter of if he's going to see the field in year one. It's just going to be when. And I've now been on the record saying I don't need to see Russell Wilson. I would start him week one. So, number one, are the Giants making a mistake not starting Jackson Dart week one? And then number two, are you a believer in Jackson Dart as a pro?
So I kind of agree with you. I thought Cam Ward was the only first-round talent in the draft last year. But I did have Jackson Dart 2, and I had Shedeur Sanders 3. And I thought where the Giants got him, I thought was a brilliant move because you get the extra year in the rookie contract. You don't reach for him and take him where there's so much pressure on him to start him if you do take him in the top 5 or top 10 picks. So basically it comes down to philosophy. And here's where I think if you're the Giants, what you want to try to do. You always hear coaches say, we want to go with whoever gives us the best chance to win, right? That's the cliche that they go with. And I do think to start the season, even with a roster which has a lot of question marks, I do think Russell Wilson gives you the best chance to win early. But I would look around week 6. I think they have week 6. They have the Thursday night game, and then they have a long extended break after that. That's when, if it doesn't work with Russ and they're 2-4, that's when I think you make the move to Jackson Dart. Now, if you roll out Russ and he's winning, you ride it as long as you can. And then if things fall apart, you don't make the playoffs, you play Jackson Dart in the end. But it's very rare for coaches to roll out a rookie on a season where your job is on the line to roll him out there because you really have no escape plan then. Like if Jackson Dart doesn't work, you're kind of screwed. And it's just an ugly lost season. And the next coach inherits quarterback. Some experience. So that's probably approach I would take if I was a coach. Go with the quarterback who is experienced, who kind of know what you're going to get, and then once things kind of go off the rails, that's when you make the switch to the young QB.
What do you think the ceiling is for Dart?
You know, it's kind of crazy. I know Giants fans are not going to like this. He kind of reminds me of Daniel Jones.
Oh.
You know, like I thought Daniel Jones was a pretty good quarterback. I just didn't think he was going to be great. And that's where I feel about Jackson Dart. Now, maybe he can develop, maybe he's got a little bit more confidence. Maybe he can eliminate some of the boneheaded turnovers that Daniel Jones had. But he had some of that in college, his first couple years starting. He eliminated some of that the last season. And he does have a confidence about him that maybe Daniel Jones lacked. So I do see that going for him. But as far as like upside, I just don't know if he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I would love to be wrong because I think he's a guy that's easily rootable, for. You want to root for him. He's likable. He's got a great personality. It's sort of infectious. But I just don't know if he has that top-tier elite arm strength, elite escapability that you want to see in a guy that could be the face of your franchise for the next decade.
He is Danny Kanell. Check out betonline.ag for updated college football playoff, win totals, conference, Heisman, and college football week 1 lines. Danny, great to have you back on. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Zach. Thanks so much.
There you go. Danny Kanell joining us on the show. We'll take a timeout when we come on back. We got to get our Dallas Cowboys quota in for the day. Jerry Jones likes control. What does Micah Parsons have to say about that? We'll get into that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show.
It's time to ask the pros, where your listener gets to ask us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INFSportsNet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. You could think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. I don't know what the heck. That was a long piece of hair on this microphone windscreen that I just, in the middle of that read, took the hair and threw it across the studio. I don't know how that happens.
Is that your personal mic flag that you bring in, my cover?
Well, no, it sits in my locker. So I don't even know how there was a long hair that got on it. You know, it's not my hair, I'll tell you that. That was a long, and I mean a long piece of hair. And, you know, I'm trying to think of the ladies that would be in studio. And Maggie sits to the right, and Maggie's been on vacation all week. So I can't even blame Maggie. I don't know where the heck that came from. That was a long hair, though. I don't know if it was really on the windscreen, though, or if it was, like, kind of attached to the knob here on the microphone. It was kind of close, right in that line right there.
Well, the only other person that sits there, really, you got Boyle sits there.
Oh, by the way, did you see what Pat Boyle would have worked today?
No.
He looked like such a douche.
What's new?
I understand. That's not nice. Actually, they take a lot of shots of you on that show.
That's okay.
I think they did some segment. I forget. It was like the Pete Bellotti Lottery or the Bellottery or something like that, whatever they were calling it. And they had basically, I watched it for 2 minutes. They had, and the 2-minute clip I clicked on, they were talking about you. They had all these numbers. And I guess they took a number out, and then the number led to a question that Bellotti created, and then Bogusch or Boyle would have to answer the question. So one of them was, who's a radio host that you just don't like to listen to? And Boyle was basically being a putty cat and wouldn't give an answer. And then someone said, well, how about a producer, Pete, that you don't like? And they said you, Santa. Now, they were laughing when they said that, so I don't know how serious that was, actually.
Listen, that's okay. Pete cannot like me. I don't like Pete either.
Oh, wow.
It works out okay.
Oh, my God.
It works out okay.
That went from 0 to 100 real quick.
He's an angry dude, or at least he was a very angry dude. He was very unpleasant to work with at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, my
being
God.
in a control room with a angry, disgruntled grouch.
Now, let me just say this. The views of Michael Samter do not reflect the views of Zach Gelb and the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I like Pete the Body Bellotti.
Is that because he's your manager?
Yeah, I didn't know he was my manager until I won the $1,000. But no, it has nothing to do with these. I like Pete.
Nobody.
Pete's a friend.
Well, I will say they put out a poll after they did the whole draft about the.
Oh, that was a shot at you.
And the poll was best producers, and they put Stu as. No, Stu's an incredible producer.
Yeah.
But he's the assistant producer for the show.
I think they were trying to get under your skin, buddy.
What's up?
I think they were trying to get under your skin.
No, it didn't bother me. I thought it was hilarious. But, you know, it's just one of those things where there's petty and then there's personal. That was a little bit.
You thought it was personal.
He's getting personal.
I took that personal. I took that seriously. Michael Samter.
No.
I think you guys should fight.
Me and Bellotti?
Yeah, no, but not like a serious fight. Not as if you're trying to kill each other. I think we should get like a pool full of Jell-O and kind of have you guys on risers and give you both like giant pool noodles, and you guys smack each other, and whoever falls off just falls into a pit of Jell-O. That's what I think. That would be a fun way to kind of settle this beef. The loser gets smacked into a pit of Jell-O.
I'd take him down. He's got nothing.
Yeah, but Boyle was wearing, to work, a tank top today. He had the guns out.
Now, did he change it when he went on the air? Like maybe he was like working out.
I don't know. I only saw 2 minutes of the clip. But he's sitting there in a cutoff. Could you imagine? And I'm wearing a collared shirt today and gym shorts. So I know I'm not really one to talk. But could you imagine our old boss, Mark Chernoff? I got yelled at when I used to wear shorts. Like khaki shorts. Could you imagine if he showed up in a tank top? You know, Pat,
if you want to go to the gym, go to the gym. But you're in a place of work, okay? You can't be coming into the studio as an on-air host Monday through Friday in a tank top, all right? You just can't be doing it.
Oh, Chernoff. Chernoff would have sent Boyle home. Like when I wore shorts once. Shorts. Khaki shorts. And got yelled at by Boomer Esiason. I had to apologize to
You know, you don't really have to, but I think Boomer was a little bit offended by it. You should apologize to him.
Hold on, was Boomer actually offended, or was that just Chernoff projecting?
I think Boomer made it an on-air bit, and Mark took it seriously. So I had to walk into Boomer's office and go, Big Blondie, I apologize. My mistake. I'll never wear shorts like
I know Boomer well enough. There's no chance he was offended by you wearing shorts.
I don't think Boomer's one of those guys that actually gets offended. But I said to Mark, are you serious? He goes, and I was part-time at the time.
So he goes, you should do what's right.
And I go, okay. So I waddled in there because I was a big fella back then. Fat fella back then. I waddled in there and I said, Booms, my mistake. I'm really sorry.
Did he accept your apology, or did you say, get the hell out of here, you young buck? I don't care who your dad is.
He was, it had nothing to do like that. It was just, he said something along the lines of, I think the line that he gave back was, you should dress for the job that you want. That's what basically he was saying. So, yeah, well, Pat Boyle wearing a cutoff today.
I used to wear button-down shirts and, dress pants to work when I first started here.
Yeah. Like a salesman. You did.
Now I'm in jeans, sneakers, and a polo.
I'll tell you, what cracks me up? You look like the great Gazoo when you walk around this office in the final segment and you have your helmet on as you get ready. Because Samter scooters, and he wears his helmet for safety. And Samter walks around with this helmet that is ginormous. You look like the great Gazoo.
I've tried 17,000 different helmets. Mm-hmm. I just have a really small head.
Yeah, Ak, I think you are kind of like the locker room lawyer around here.
I yell at you for wearing shorts.
But you're wearing shorts, too.
Yeah, but it's summertime. Like, when you're wearing shorts in April, I said, no.
But when it gets to 70 degrees, that's fine.
I said, no. I said,
well you know what?
80, it's got to be at least 75 or above before Memorial Day to wear shorts.
So I will say this. The big boss here, Chris Oliveira, has no problem with shorts. I actually wore, when I was on TV, when we had CBS Sports Network in that partnership, I wore a button down, and Chris said, never dress like that again. Pat Boyle wearing a tank top to work today. I think that's too comfortable.
I've yelled at him about shorts.
Oh, have you?
Oh, yeah.
Did he yell at you back?
No, I said, look, you can't do that. You know what? I don't mind shorts if it's hot. But, I'm wearing the Captain C in the team picture when it comes to wanting to wear shorts. But you can't be egregious.
Is that C for captain or casual?
Either or. Works.
Okay.
Very nice. But you just can't be that egregious when you stretch the boundaries of good taste and appropriateness.
Okay. Real quickly, in your heart, do you think Micah Parsons will sign a long-term contract extension with the Dallas Cowboys?
Yes.
Okay. I am starting to contemplate that now, in terms of thinking that maybe he won't. I'm still going to lean that this deal gets done. But what you're seeing here is a power struggle. And in the NFL, 9.9 times out of 10, this isn't the NBA where the players run the league. This is an owner-driven league. And the owners, 9.9 times out of 10, always win. And I think what Jerry Jones is doing here, he doesn't like the agent got involved. And I don't really fault the agent for getting involved. That's his job. But Jerry is making this, how this deal's going to get done just between himself and between Micah. And he's not really showing respect to the agent from one side of this. So I wonder, Jerry did the same thing where he was making Dak Prescott wait. He was making CeeDee Lamb wait. And eventually Dak and CeeDee Lamb caved. And they said, okay, we'll get the deal done. We're good to go. I wonder if Micah's going to cave. Dak wasn't that personal. CeeDee Lamb wasn't that personal. It just seemed nonsensical to have him wait as the price was just going up and up and up. This now seems personal, where it's not even Jerry attacking Micah, but he's attacking his agent. And if I was Micah, I wouldn't be happy if the owner is taking unnecessary shots at my agent. And that's what I wonder with a trade request pending. I wonder if that part of it being personal And we thought Mike always got this game. He actually stands up and says, you know what, I'm going to fight Jerry Jones on this.
Hard to see Jerry Jones let his best player walk out the door. Now, Dak Prescott, you got to sign the quarterback if you believe he's the guy. So that's one thing. But it's hard to see, A, Jerry Jones letting his best player out the door, and B, how many times have you seen a star, it hasn't happened often, get in this contract dispute, get traded, that hasn't happened often, but get traded and just thrive elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the one guy that comes to mind, Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
But he was never quite what he was in Chicago, what he was with the Raiders.
Yeah, and Micah is extremely young still, right? He's right in the prime of his career, so I don't think he's going to start, crapping the bed if he goes elsewhere.
Football, I mean, I've seen holdouts over the years, and
this one just seems different because it's so personal with the agent. That's why I'm like, okay, is Micah then going to fight Jerry back on this?
But for some reason, it never seems, when the guy leaves, it just never seems to work out well.
It's almost like, this is what I'll equate it to. When, like, let's say if I take a shot at you, right, like in a joking way, that's fine. But then if someone else on a different show took a shot at you, I'd be more inclined to defend you because it's like, who the heck is someone else that doesn't work here to do that? Well, and with Jerry and with Micah, it's like, okay, I could take the shots from Jerry, but then you go after my agent. That's where maybe he goes, I'm going to poke the bear a little bit more here.
I don't know what the strategy is there. He's obviously not going to take the shot at his player.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, obviously, the agent is the guy who, will take the bullet for his players. And I think that's just, the agent is the guy that does the dirty work.
Yeah.
And so Jerry's like, I'm going to go after that guy because I'm not going to go after my player. I'm going to go after the guy who's kind of,
But I feel like the dirty work's coming from Jerry. I don't think there's any dirty work coming from their side, for at least what we know.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could
All
be.
right, real quickly, I have to bring our boss here, our program director, David Marinick, in, who I just saw was in the control room. David, I think we have talked about this before. You are good with people wearing shorts to work, right?
In general, I think I was brought up to have disdain for it, but personally, it really doesn't bother me as long as the character of the person in question is who it is. And, again, I think like a lot of people around here, they've put up equity with the company. They do a good job. If it's scorching hot out and you want to wear shorts, I'm fine with it.
Is Pat Boyle someone that has enough equity here who's now a full-time host and has done a great job to wear a cutoff, a tank top?
I just heard you say the tank top. The tank top, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Are we going to suspend it?
We're going to have some form of punitive
sensitivity training. Exactly. You guys tried to throw that my way because I make fun of Hickey. I think he needs to have like an etiquette training, Pat Boyle.
Well, for sure, absolutely.
This isn't a frat house.
We've got a compliance report all prepped for him, and he'll be participating this evening.
He buys lunch for the newsroom.
Oh, you know what? Look at you always trying to swindle a free meal. Act should kind of be like our jurisdiction board. Like he just has all the penalties there. Doug Gottlieb then if we had all that food though. Doug Gottlieb would start taking too many slices here, Ack.
5.
By the way, I give you a lot of credit. When you were out, that story came up with Marco.
Okay.
And I go, there's someone here that still holds a grudge with Doug Gottlieb over that.
Not me.
The way that you told me, though, the story is I thought, and maybe this was a credit to you because you didn't want the credit, I thought like the whole newsroom was just buying these pizzas. And then Marco said, no, Ack was the one buying the pizzas. And Gottlieb would come on in and just steal 4 slices.
He just went, we used to get one pie because it was like sort of like, like a happy hour thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't a meal. It just was like,
take a slice.
It's
right?
Friday, take a slice, and go on. And, look, if we had an extra one and somebody wanted 2 or somebody was hungry, that was fine too. But not only did Doug take, so we wind up getting a second
pie.
We wind up getting a second pie because now there were more people when Doug and Klug, they were originally in California, they came here. So we get a second pie. And, all this happened while I'm doing the update. I come out and I look at everybody in the newsroom and they're just standing there. I'm like, what happened? And
where'd the pizza go?
Yeah. And I was like, how did it happen so fast? You know? And hey, look, Doug was a hungry boy that day. I haven't had 5
slices,
I haven't had 5 slices since I was 12.
Yeah, or I need some substances to make me want to eat 5 slices, if we're just being honest.
I mean, look, if I was really hungry and I hadn't had lunch, maybe there would be a third slice, but 5? But hey, God bless the guy. Good for him. I don't hold the grudge though.
We'll do a Take 5 Wednesday next. Get back into the college football update time first. A man that always dresses in the correct fashion, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Kyle Hamilton has been a game changer in Baltimore and now is the highest paid safety in the NFL, getting a 4-year extension from the Ravens that totals $100 million. $82 million is guaranteed. Adam Thielen heading back to his home state and his former team, dealt by the Panthers to the Vikings for a 5th-round pick next year and a 4th-rounder in 2027. Rashee Rice gets a 6-game suspension for violating the league's code of conduct policy. He was involved in a multi-vehicle crash in 2024, driving 119 miles per hour, and will miss the first 6 games. Trevor Lawrence is a new coach and now a new target in Tim Patrick, who was acquired from the Lions for a late-round pick at 6'5". The veteran receiver gives Jacksonville the bigger target they have been craving. Baseball today, several day games and several of them over the Yankees with 9 runs in the 3rd and 6 home runs in the day. They sweep the Nationals by a score of 11-2. Matt Olson hit his 20th of the season. Jurickson Profar hit 2, and the Braves crushed the Marlins by a score of 12-1. In 10, it was the Guardians over the Rays 4-3, and the Padres and Mariners a scoreless bottom 2. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show.
Boomer Esiason was once not happy with me many years ago when I was hosting the overnights for wearing shorts to work. Since then, our big boss, Chris Olivero, has no problem with shorts to work. He actually encourages it. But in the last segment, we found out that Pat Boyle was wearing a tank top to work last night. He does a great job in the Pat Boyle Show, 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern Time on many of these same Infinity Sports Network stations. Ack thought that crossed the line, and even our big boss, our other big boss, David Marinick, walked in, and he said wearing a tank top is unacceptable. So I wanted to bring on Pat Boyle to allow him to defend himself and his actions. Pat, what led you to wearing a tank top to work last night? Just wondering.
First of all, unacceptable?
That's what David Marinick said, our boss.
Really?
Yeah, he actually thinks there should be a punitive action. Ack recommended that you buy us all lunch or dinner. and Marinick specifically said, and I'm not embellishing this whatsoever, he thinks Pete should also buy Samter a meal, is what I was told to. For your actions. So why'd you wear a tank top, just wondering?
First of all, I'd like to point out the fact that Pat McAfee wears a tank top on national television every single day and doesn't catch flack for it. And so I was on camera because we did the Bilotti Lottery. First time ever on the Infinity Sports Network on the Pat Boyle Show, which I thought was a great segment. And it was on the Infinity Sports Network YouTube channel. So I was like, you know what? Why not give the people a little something extra to look at? This isn't just a radio show now. This is a radio and digital show.
So you didn't have that tank top on the entire show. You just took the you put the whatever shirt you had underneath it, on top of it off, and then just went for the tank top just for that segment.
No, I wore it to work.
Oh,
I did wear it.
I was going to say, because that's a certain level of douchiness, if I've ever heard it, if you just put the tank top on only for that segment when you were on camera.
No, the guns are out. And look, it's the last week of summer. We still got good weather right now. So, if it calls for a little bit of sleeveless action, why not? Why does the fact that, again, and I work overnight, Zach. There is no bosses here while I'm here. What is the big deal? I honestly, I could wear a banana hammock. I could wear a thong to work and nothing else. And it shouldn't be a problem because the only people I see are Pete Bilotti, Jerry Recco, and then for about 5 seconds, Boomer Esiason on a week when he's here.
Yeah, Boomer would not have been happy if he saw. I know he was out, but he would not have been happy if he saw that. But anyway, I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I'm a locker room leader, right? I wear a C on my chest here at the Infinity Sports Network since we got rid of Marash. And I just wanted to bring it to your attention that Ack and Marinick were appalled with those actions.
Okay, and so now you, along with the rest of them, think that the punitive action should require
No, not me. That was Ack's suggestion, and David approved on it. They think you should buy us a meal. I don't need you to buy me a meal.
Okay. David wants a meal, and Ackerman wants a meal.
Yeah, of course. They want their asses fed. Like, let's be real. You know, when I took you out to dinner one time, I picked up the tab when we went to that place, Port Said, across the street, and we had a delicious bronzino. It was great. And we had some hummus.
You did, and I'm very glad that you reminded people that you picked up the tab. That was
just
very
being
nice.
a good guy, just being the locker room leader around here. He had a part-timer at the time, and Pat Boyle, just getting through the day. I didn't want him to spend his salary on a quarter of a meal for the day, so I said, you know what? I'll pick up the tab for Pat Boyle. I made a very good conversation that day, 3-4 years ago. Never got a thank you note.
How long ago? It was probably last year.
No, I wasn't in 3 to 6. I was not in. I've been doing 3 to 6 now for 2 years. I was not in the 3 to 6 time slot. So
you definitely were. What are you talking about?
No, It was 6 to 10. I was in 6 to 10. I was filling in 3 to 6 that day, but I was 6 to 10 full time still then when that happened. Trust me, I remember. If I was on my 6 to 10 salary, I would have been picking up the tab.
All right, so now what? So I can't wear.
I just screwed myself there because I just made the joke of my 6 to 10 salary. I wouldn't be picking up the tab, and I did pick up the tab. Maybe it was 3 to 6 now. The more that I think of it,
I think it was. I think you were 3 to 6 because I don't think it was that long ago. But either way, so now what? I can't wear sleeveless shirts to work in the middle of the night.
I didn't say that. That's just what David Mayernick said, and he's the boss. So you got to respect you got to respect David's authority. That's what you got to do. You got to respect his authority. Okay.
Is Mayernick still in the building?
Yes, he's sitting at his desk right now. Not happy with you.
Not happy with me. Well, he seemed pretty happy. He's asking me, he said, U.S. Open's going on right now. Give me some winners. I'm watching tennis right now. I'm getting ready for a fantasy draft tonight. The league that you bailed on, by the way, Zach.
I did.
The league that you bid on.
Yeah.
So,
quit.
Maybe,
I thought you said a different word. Yeah.
Maybe why don't you guys go take your complaints and go scratch?
Okay, that's fine. Pat Boyle. I know he'll text me in about 3 seconds. Loved coming on the show. It was wonderful. There he is, the great Pat Boyle. I have no issue with Pat Boyle. But tank top to work, a little fraudulent there. I don't know if that should be acceptable. So Pat Boyle, guns a-blazing, coming in hot. There may be a fight, Pat and David Mayernick. We may have a overnight position opening again.
Maybe I'll apply so that me and Bilotti can work together again.
Oh, my God. You know what? I would pay to co-host with Boyle in this slot and see you and Bilotti work together. That would be awesome.
No
Coming
producers on the mic.
Take 5 Wednesday. Next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
All righty, hour number 3 of our radio program. I do like to stir the pot here. There's no doubt about it. So in the last segment, 2 segments, we've had shots from Samter to Bellotti, Ack to Boyle, Mayernick to Boyle, and I'm just going to ratchet this up one more step. So we had Boyle on. So I took a screen grab of Pat Boyle in a tank top doing his show last night. And I said, sources. Infinity Sports Network Program Director David Mayernick is contemplating a, quote, punitive action, close quotes, for overnight host Pat Boyle, who wore a tank top to work. Sources say that Michael Samter tried to reach out to Boyle's producer, Pete the Body Bellotti, for comment, but Pete refused to take his phone call. So we will be tweeting that out momentarily.
Actually, there's an update. Bellotti actually blocked my number. Oh. So I got a, this device is not working. Please check with your provider.
You know what? I'm going to alter this tweet. That's a very good line that they had, Samter. All right. Dionisio Castro, who's a loyal listener to this show, his Instagram is 49ers Castro. He sent us a stack of cards here. We'll get to Take 5 Wednesday in just a second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nico has 9. Samter has 10. So I took one card here. They're the Ultra Flair football trading cards. 1991. Now, do you think this brand has just been around since 1991? Or do you think that these are cards from 1991?
I think these are cards from 1991.
You do?
Yeah, Fleer's been around since forever.
Longer than that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Now, these are kind of tough to open. Can you open them?
Yeah, dude. Opening up a pack of cards is like a rite of passage. No. You got to open it almost like a bag of chips.
Nico, are you having problems here?
No, like a bag
I
of
am
chips.
struggling a lot here.
See, now, this is listener sent stuff.
No.
Oh, my God,
Like
Santa.
a bag of chips.
You're a Vanna White.
All right, and now we do a breakers, right? Okay, I cover the first card.
Am I a moron? I can't do it.
I can't get it either.
Right? It's
All right.
impossible.
Here we go.
All right, I'm just going to do this the gross way. Ow!
Zach just injured himself.
There we go. I'm trying to bite open the cards.
I hope Demisio has
Sorry.
dental insurance that
Hopefully
he
not.
can pay for your broken teeth.
Hopefully there's not anthrax on this. Oh my God. Yeah, these are from 1991. Did you get anyone good?
Oh, well, let's reveal.
Oh my God. You know what I got?
Who?
Friend of the show, Mike Pritchard.
There you go.
All right. I think that's the best one I got. Here's the best one. The playmaker, Michael Irvin.
Oh, that's interesting. There's somebody we were just talking about with Danny Kanell that showed up in my pack.
Oh, no, this is 1991?
Yeah.
We were talking about this with Danny Kanell?
Yeah.
Deion Sanders?
Boom! Prime, baby.
Wow.
Got me some prime.
That's
There
pretty
you go.
good.
Come on, baby.
All right, Nico, who's your best card here? Did you get the crappy pack?
Yeah, there's not a lot of good options here.
Also, Nico, what year were you born?
1999.
Yeah, I was born in 94, so. But I was able to identify two players.
Even the Giants player on here I've never heard of.
Who?
Running back Lewis Tillman.
Okay. You know, it's not O.J. Anderson.
You
It's
don't
not
know
Otis
Brian
Anderson.
Brennan of the Browns wide receivers? Come on, Brian Brennan.
You don't have anyone that you really know there?
Not really, no.
All right, I'll open up one more for you. Ready, Nico? Open up one more.
How about Albert Bentley?
Oh, Hall of Famer. Sterling Sharp.
There you go.
There you go.
Congratulations,
Nice. All
Nico.
right.
There you go. Oh, Herschel Walker.
Oh, my goodness.
Now that's a good
Wait, hold on.
pack.
Is that Cowboys or Vikings, Herschel?
Vikings.
Ooh.
Rodney Hampton.
Okay.
Oh. Back to back.
Is this like a mega pack?
Back to back. These are epic. Arguably the greatest offensive player of all time. Arguably.
Lawrence Taylor.
Not LT. That's what I would have said is the greatest.
Reggie White.
Reggie
wow.
White.
Eagles?
Eagles.
Yes.
Arguably the greatest offensive player of all time.
Jerry Rice. Not arguably. He is the greatest offensive player of all time.
Tom Brady. That's okay.
No, Tom Brady is the greatest player of all time. Greatest offensive player is Jerry Rice.
Okay, that's pretty damn good. You say Brian Brennan?
Yeah, you got one too?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got doubles.
Steve Smith, but not.
No, I got that same one. The Raiders running back, Steve Smith. I
Yeah.
got him too.
Okay, these are actually pretty good. Should I continue here and just see?
Why not?
I don't want to chip my teeth.
This is why card collecting is so addicting.
Yeah. I got a good depth chart here.
I mean, that second pack was epic. You got like 9 Hall of Famers in there.
Cowboys quarterback, Troy Aikman.
Now, this is 91. This was like 1 in 15.
Oh, my
Aikman.
God. He's practically a relative of mine. He's in the Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. He's a big reason why I'm a Patriot fan.
Bruce Pearl?
No. But that's a good line. This guy, so my uncle is great childhood friends with this guy's wife. And you know, like when you grow up next to someone and you become really close to them and you call someone your uncle and they're not really your uncle. So Uncle Chuck is my Uncle Gary's right, like uncle, and his father, Donnie Jerome, who's no longer with us. Donnie and Chuck were best friends, and they had a daughter. Chuck had a daughter named Rhonda, who married Pro Football Hall of Famer Andre Tippett.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
Andre Tippett in the Jewish Hall of Fame?
Yeah, he converted to Judaism. He's serious, though. Really serious Jew right now.
Amar Stoudemire was similar.
Ken O'Brien.
Nice.
Okay.
That's my quarterback.
Okay. No. Ooh. Bruce Smith.
Nah.
That's a bad show moment for you. That was maybe your worst on-air moment.
Me not remembering
how great Bruce Smith was.
But not like in a way like, oh, he was. Me just not realizing that he was like as elite.
Yeah,
like,
it was
like first tier.
It was terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
It
I
was
know
your
Bruce
worst
Smith
take ever.
was a monster.
I know, it just wasn't your best take.
No, it wasn't. But it wasn't like I was saying Bruce Smith doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. I was just saying I didn't remember him being as dominant as his actual career was.
Okay. No. Oh, Jerome Brown. It's pretty good.
That was a tough loss. That I remember being the first sports death that I remember.
They just gave you a checklist?
Yeah, sometimes you got a checklist.
I also had Jerome Brown, by the way. I just wasn't sure who that was.
What?
Yeah, Jerome Brown sadly passed away in a car accident. Oh, he was good. He was really good.
Kevin Green? Oh.
That's another Hall of Famer.
Mike Singletary.
Nice.
That's a good one, yep.
Those eyes.
Oh. Back to back. Vinny Testaverde.
Nice.
Steve Young.
Nice.
Okay.
Both also in the Jewish Hall of Fame.
My fellow Southpaw.
Nico, you're a Southpaw?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, baby. Lefty rocks. Let's go. Let's do this, Nico.
No. Oh.
What do we got?
Jim Harbaugh.
Okay, I've heard of him before.
No. Ooh.
Wait. Is that Bears Jim Harbaugh or Colts Jim Harbaugh?
Bears Jim Harbaugh.
Bears Jim Harbaugh.
No.
I think it's more fun to say the nose. Who are the nose?
Oh. Barry Sanders.
I think that's the best pull so far.
Better than Jerry Rice?
Not the best player, but just the coolest pull.
I like Eric Metcalf.
He had some troubles. I want to hear some of the nose.
Okay.
I want to hear some of the crappy players. Like for me, my crappy players: Steve Smith, Jerry Gray, Leon White, Mark Boyer,
How
Bruce
many times did I get Chris
Kaczynski.
Chandler? This is the second pack I got Chris Chandler.
You can get a lot of them.
Let's see.
Please tell me you get another Brian Brennan. That's my guy now.
Bruce Smith again.
Nice.
Oh, Warren Moon.
Good times.
We thank Dionisio Castro for sending us these. This is actually more fun than I thought.
Let me know if you get a Ron Wolfley Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, okay.
That's my guy.
Well, I'll give you all these, though, the ones that I don't want.
I'll take them, man.
All right, I got 2 more packs, then I got to get to take 5 ones.
Nah, this is more fun than that.
I'm really effing up my teeth here, opening these. I could say that, right? You didn't dump me there.
No.
Okay. Oh, Darryl Green.
Oh, you know what? Give that to Tiki. That's his favorite player growing up.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
He grew up in Virginia, so he loved Washington.
Barry Sanders again.
Yeah, but that looks like a different one. Is that?
Yeah, it's a different one. It's an Ultra All-Stars.
Ooh, that might be something.
Morton Anderson.
Psh, did you just call out a kicker?
Wait, who did I say to? I said, what about Otis Anderson?
Yeah.
Well, I got Otis Anderson.
You got Rodney Hampton and Otis Anderson. Where's Joe Morris at?
Keith Byers.
Nice. Keith Byers with the fumble heard around the world.
Oh, I have this guy's jersey.
Drew Bledsoe.
Friend of the show. I have his Michigan jersey. Leroy Horde.
Ooh, that's nice.
That's a good one. Willie Anderson.
Nice.
Killer. Carl Banks.
Nice.
All right, last one. We got a pretty good team here.
I think we have to create during one of the breaks. Create our
depth chart.
Yeah, our best starting 11.
Oh my goodness gracious! The great Boomer Esiason.
There it is.
John Elway.
Hold on. In the picture of Boomer, is he wearing shorts?
Tank top.
Ah!
Okay.
John Elway's a good one. I think of all the guys we've gotten, that might be the starting quarterback. Bobby Brister. I think John Elway's our starting quarterback. Trace Armstrong. Okay.
He's now the AD at A&M?
Maybe. He was a Colts first-round pick, if I remember.
Here on the Bears. Okay. Ooh, Pepper Johnson.
Bears.
And then we'll end this one on a good one. Randall Cunningham.
All right.
Quarterback. It's pretty good.
God, those early 90s Eagles teams were so much fun.
Which one did you say you want me to give to Tiki? Darryl Green?
Darryl Green, yeah.
Let me just find that. Is Tiki in today or no?
I have no idea. I don't think so.
Okay. You didn't steal your snacks today?
I think I got the worst pack out of all of them.
Definitely got the worst pack.
You may have got some great ones, and you just may not know who they are. That's
Let me take a look.
Yeah.
He's 11 years old. So.
Yeah, do like a little Samter checks and balances.
Let's see.
Come
Steve Walsh, no. Pat Harlow, no. He's got Jerome Brown. Brent Jones.
You not knowing Jerome Brown was
Brent
bad.
Jones, not terrible. 49ers, Gary Plummer, Lewis Tillman, Patrick Hunter. Oh, my gosh. You got Richard Dent. How do you not know Richard Dent?
Wait, you had Richard Dent?
Yeah, Richard Dent.
Okay, continue.
Brian Noble, Joey
Brian
Browner.
Noble? I used to do a radio show with him.
I don't know much about Brian Noble, but Richard Dent. Richard Dent was a beast.
Brian Noble, what team was he on?
And this one, I think.
Oh, no, that was Brandon Noble.
Oh, maybe. This is Packers.
Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, I think it was. His name was Brandon.
Richard Dent was his best player on this in this card.
It's okay. He probably had Gale Sayers. He's like, who the heck's that?
Earl who? Campbell what?
Yeah. Who's this? Who's this guy? He was a running back. He was pretty damn good. You could have Barry Sanders. Well, you would have known Barry Sanders, right?
Yeah, I would have known Earl.
You would have been like Monica McNutt, who thought it was Shador Sanders.
Who's this Daniel Marino? I don't even know him.
Is he Italian or something like that? What's going on with him?
Jewish Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right. You didn't make him Jewish there. All right, let's get to a little Take 5 Wednesday right now on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Who's Jim Brown? That was Nico. All right, let's get to Take 5 Wednesday now.
The football season might be over.
What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is.
But don't you worry, there are still rankings to be made. So get ready as Zach gives you his top 5 in this week's special edition of Take 5 Wednesday.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Alrighty, let's get to Take 5 Wednesday on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will do this right now, and the question today is I'm looking for the 5 most underrated teams entering this college football season. In at number 5, they kick off play tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern at Arrowhead. It's Nebraska up against Cincinnati. I think people are sleeping on Dylan Raiola entering this season. I know Nebraska does not return the defensive coordinator from a year ago, but Dana Holgorsen, who was the offensive coordinator, the interim OC at the end of the season, is now the full-time OC. I think that's going to do wonders for that program. They brought in the receiver Key, who ended up being a team captain. I think Nebraska this year is going to be an 8 or 9 win football team. They were not ranked in the top 25 before the season. I think they'll end the season just in the top 25. In at number 4, I think a lot of people are sleeping on Pitt. I think Pitt has the potential to be a 9-win football team this season. It wouldn't shock me if they're in the ACC championship game before losing to Clemson. But when you look at Pitt, they have 2 All-Americans. Desmond Reed, who's an explosive dual-threat running back. They also have Kyle Lewis, who could be a first-rounder linebacker last year. He was a stud. Eli Holstein was undefeated last year before he got hurt. And Rasheem Biles is a tackle for loss machine. I think Pitt is an underrated team entering this season. Number 3, I'm going with Georgia Tech. Their quarterback, Haynes King, is one of the better quarterbacks in the country. I like the job that Coach Key is doing as well. I think Georgia Tech is a team that's also in the ACC that we saw some of their potential at the end of last season, and I think it should carry over into this year. And at number 2, I'm going Baylor. Baylor, they weren't in the AP top 25. Dave Aranda is a good coach, not a great coach, good coach. Sawyer Robertson, one of the better quarterbacks in the country, and they should have a really good defense. I'm going to put Baylor in at number 2, and they're one of those teams that could win the Big 12. And then finally, in at number 1, now I'm already working with them being 1-0. And I like Rocco Becht a lot. I think they got a very favorable schedule. They had to beat Kansas State, and they did so. But to start the year in the AP poll, Kansas State was 17th. Iowa State was 22nd. So I have Iowa State as an underrated team, even though they're already 1-0 in this college football season. So 5 teams that are flying under the radar in this college football season as it starts. Nebraska 5, Pitt 4, Georgia Tech 3, Baylor 2, and Iowa State in at 1. Samter, speak now or forever. Hold your peace.
I mean, I know you love this coach, and I know you love this program, but, to leave them out, I think, is a little bit unfair. USC, the Trojans.
Oy.
Say what you will, they have the number 2 recruiting class next year.
But it's for this year.
They have top 10 recruiting classes or top 15 recruiting classes for each of the 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that they might have fallen off from the levels of USC that we expect, but whatever you want to say about Lincoln Riley, he has 3 Heisman winners. He has 3 number 1 overall picks. He's been to the playoffs. He has brought teams to high levels. They're not even ranked. And
they shouldn't be.
They're consistently a top 20 recruiting team. They're consistently a top 20 transfer portal team. They seem like a team that's underrated. That people are kind of overlooking in the Big Ten that might make a splash more than you think.
I don't think people are overrating USC. I don't think they're underrating them. I don't think anyone's saying USC is going to be a 5-win football team. I think they're going to be a 7 or 8-win football team. And, I had that guy on Andy Staples who I said, this is a big year for USC. He's like, no, it's not. It's all about next year. So, I look at them. They have a 3-game stretch. At Illinois, they played Michigan, and they're at Notre Dame, and they followed up with Nebraska. And then at the end of the year, they have to play Oregon. They have Iowa on that schedule. Early on, they should start the year 3 or 4-0. They play Missouri State, Georgia Southern, Purdue, and Michigan State. But once you get towards the end of September, that's where their schedule picks up. So they could have a good start. I don't think they're going to have a good finish.
Well, another team, Indiana. They were in the playoff last year. They're ranked low. Fernando Mendoza at quarterback taking over. Seems like they still have the ability and the talent there. They didn't lose a ton outside of the quarterback position.
I think they're properly rated. Could they go up a few spots? Yeah, they're ranked 20th in the AP poll entering this season. I just look at Indiana. I don't think they need to make the playoff for this year to be a success. If they're a 9-win football team, I think you look at Indiana, you say that's a good season, and getting 9 wins would be about being probably the 20th team in the country, I would say. So I think they're properly rated.
How about Louisville? They bring in Miller Moss, highly rated quarterback.
I like
as
Brown.
A recruit. Isaac Brown, as a freshman last year, had 1,100 yards. They're unranked as well, but there's a lot of people who think that we're sleeping on them.
I like Jeff Brom. I think he's a really good coach. I just don't know how much I believe in the quarterback. I thought, though, with how they were being talked about in the offseason, and we had Jeff Brom on, I think, of our first college football fix, I thought they were going to be a top 25 team, and they had 90 votes to get into the top 25. The only schools that were in front of them were Baylor that didn't make it, Utah, and BYU. But I put Louisville just on the outside looking in just because of the lack of – I don't know what I'm going to get out of the quarterback.
All right, another team that we've talked about a lot on the show, one of our favorites, Boise State. I know they lost Ashton Genty, but Maddox Madsen is back for another year. A little bit more on his shoulders, but they're not getting a lot of respect this year either. And it feels like, yes, you lost the most dynamic running back in college football, but there's still a lot of weapons there.
That was the team that I contemplated the most putting in, and I didn't think they were underrated, and here's why. They're still the highest-ranked G5 school right now. So they're projected still to make the college football playoffs. So even though 25 may seem a little unfair to them, they should be higher up. I'm good with that because they didn't put anyone else that isn't in a Power 4 conference in front of them. That's a team I actually did a sportsman on them, that they're going to make the college football playoff this year. Spencer Danielson is a young, up-and-coming head coach. I think Maddox Madsen's ready to do more as they give him more opportunities with no longer having Ashton Genty there. Cage Casey could be a first-round pick on the offensive line. And they have one of the more underrated players in the country in Jaden Virgin Morgan, who last year did have 10 sacks and 16 tackles for loss. So Boise State, I didn't put them there just because the differentiating factor was they're still projected to be the highest-ranked non-Power 4 conference. That it?
I got one more if you want to hit one more. Missouri. I know they lost Brady Cook, but they had 10 wins in the SEC last year. They bring in Bo Prabula from Penn State.
They're going to play 2 quarterbacks this weekend.
Yeah.
I read.
So, I mean, listen, that's a team that has built a good program over the past couple of years. They lost their quarterback, but they brought in a couple good options there. It seems like Missouri might not be getting the attention they should.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair. I'm not jonesing to throw them in the top 25, if I'm being honest. I think they're an SEC school that, they go win 8-9 games, but then when they get to the bigger games, they're just not going to find a way to get the job done. So I did not have them in there. A few years ago, they had a very close game I think it was for 3 quarters, maybe even all 4 quarters. It was a close game up against Georgia. I remember watching that game at a bar, and they almost won that game, but, that was a few years ago.
Speaking of Georgia, they brought in Damon Wilson, who was a 5-star recruit, star defensive end. transfer from Georgia. So that's one of those guys that can wreak havoc.
You know what
in
I
the
just
SEC.
did?
I think he had 7 sacks last year.
I just said a few years ago. Whenever I say a few years ago, I think it's anywhere from like 2 to the last 6 years. So let's see. 2024, they did not play Missouri, so it must have been 2023. I remember I was at it could have been after. Yeah. They won 30-21 Georgia against Missouri, but that was a close game for a while. It was on November 4th. So anyway, let's take a break. It is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. When we return, Kyle Hamilton gets a long-term deal done with the Baltimore Ravens. Who has the most pressure to win a Super Bowl this year that hasn't, with the current group that they have? We'll do that on the other side. When we come on back, it is the Zach Gelb Show. College football is back. Think you know the game? Put your knowledge to the test with DraftKings Sportsbook and turn your picks into big payouts. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code GELB. That's code GELB for new customers to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Once again, code GELB, G-E-L-B. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Must be present in state where it is lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets are non-cash credits that expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Zach Gelb Show.
If you were concerned about Fox, if you have YouTube TV, Fox and YouTube TV, according to On3, have agreed to a short-term extension while they work through a new agreement. So Fox and YouTube TV are in a carriage dispute ahead of the college football season. The deadline to reach an agreement was today at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And they have reached a short-term extension for us football fans, NFL on Fox, and then college football on Fox, to work through a new agreement. Kyle Hamilton, who I loved coming out of Notre Dame, and it's amazing how the Ravens always get these players. You know, they just have them go to the Ravens, and they also have Malachi Starks, who I think is going to be a stud. Well, Kyle Hamilton is worth every penny. Agreed to an extension today. It's a 4-year deal worth $100.4 million. And according to Adam Schefter, it's the largest for a safety in NFL history. And how much do you think of this is guaranteed? It's $82 million. $82 million guaranteed, which, what do you think the previous record was for a safety guaranteed money? 82 is the new record. What do you think the previous record was for a safety, guaranteed money?
No, Vikings, Harrison.
Just take a guess. What do you think? I don't know who the player was.
$25 million.
Nico.
I was going to say I'll go half, $40 million.
$45 million. Think about that. Previous record was $45 million for a safety. $82 million guaranteed for Kyle Hamilton. So the Ravens are obviously a team that have a ginormous amount of pressure entering this season. And if they play the Bills in the playoffs again, they got to find a way for the third time to be a charm. And if they play Kansas City, they also haven't beat them in the playoffs when it matters. They lost the AFC Championship game 2 years ago. So I'm looking at the Ravens, take them off the table because we know there's so much pressure on them. Who is the team that has pressure on them to win a Super Bowl that hasn't? Now, I know the Ravens, right, in their franchise history have won 2 Super Bowls, but I'm talking about like with this group. Like you think Lamar Jackson, he hasn't won a Super Bowl even though he has 2 MVPs. So take the Ravens out of it. Who is a current group that hasn't got over the hump that needs to get over the hump this season? It has a ton of pressure on them. Samter, I'll start you off. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. It's weird to call them a team that has pressure on them because they're the Lions, but they've changed that entire franchise and the conversation about them and the narrative around. That's a team that's built to win and built to win now. And their window, I don't want to say it's closing, but every year that they fall short, the window closes a little bit more. So I'm a little bit worried, but I would love to see them get it done.
And you look at the Chiefs, right, where people say, oh, the Chiefs are maybe vulnerable this year. And maybe people are buying stock with the Broncos. Like we had Drew Brees on earlier who talked about how he thinks the Broncos are in good position out of all the teams in the AFC West to maybe challenge Kansas City. You take a glance at the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh now being the head coach there for 2 seasons with Justin Herbert as their quarterback. We'll see if the Raiders could get their act together with Pete Carroll taking over. Like, you look at the Chiefs, yeah, there's talent in that division, but I don't see any of those teams actually usurping Kansas City. I look at the Lions. The Lions are viewed as the team that's going to win that division, but the other 3 teams, like, if you tell me the Vikings, who had the same record last year as the Lions, but You look at Minnesota, they lost that last game of the season, so they didn't find a way to get the job done. Like, I don't think it'd be crazy to say that the Vikings win that division. I don't think it's crazy to say that the Packers could win that division. I'm not going to say the Bears, but if Caleb Williams gets it rocking, like, who would have thought 2 years ago that C.J. Stroud and the Texans were going to win the division? Who would have thought last year that Jaden Daniels would have won the division? And by the way, a lot of social media buzz last night. Nothing substantiated, like nothing from a reliable source, but a lot of social media buzz last night about maybe Micah Parsons going to the Green Bay Packers. So I think that's a good one, Samter, because I think most people just assume, oh, yeah, the Lions are going to win that division this year. I don't think you could just assume the Lions are going to win that division, even though the Lions are very talented. They get Aiden Hutchinson back, but your defensive coordinator is now the head coach of the Jets, and your offensive coordinator is now, from last year, is now the head coach of the Bears. So there's a lot of turnover on that coaching staff. So that's a good one. Nico, who's yours?
I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. Ooh. Now, I know they're not the favorite to win the division or the AFC for that matter, but this is now year 6 with Joe Burrow in this Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor era. They got to the Super Bowl once a couple years ago, and we thought, like, oh, this was going to be the start of a new, exciting time in Cincinnati.
That's crazy, by the way.
Yeah, you don't realize it how – I mean, I know he was hurt a couple of years, so you don't really think of it that way, but we were expecting Cincinnati to take that next step, and they've kind of gone backwards since then. And I think, obviously, Burrow's not going anywhere, but time could be running out on Zach Taylor if they don't start winning. There are a couple – pieces we've seen with Trey Hendrickson, how the contract hasn't gone his way. Could that be because so much money is tied up to Burrow and Chase and these other guys?
It's the Bengals are cheap, and they don't want to give him more than 1 year of that contract guaranteed, and that's why they just puffed up the contract and pumped up the contract for this year. But T. Higgins is someone that got a deal done, but then you read the guarantees, it's like, oh, they could get out of that quickly. Here's the thing. Burrow, I believe in. The defense stinks. With or without Trey Hendrickson, the defense is a bad defense. Now, Al Golden back in the fold there, so we'll see what he does. I think Lou Anarumo was unfairly scapegoated. But that line, that offensive line, they got to protect Burrow better. Because as great as Burrow is in terms of leading the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns, that's still a dude that takes a lot of hits, and he has that injury history. And if they miss the the Bills come up short in the playoffs. The Ravens come up short in the playoffs. But at least they get there. Look at the Bengals. Sure, they got to a Super Bowl a few years ago, but since then, I think they made the playoffs one time where they annihilated Buffalo and they lost that AFC Championship game. I think it was the next season to the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's been a little bit, and those slow starts have killed them. So yeah, the Bengals are a good one. I'm gonna go with the most obvious one. It's the Buffalo Bills. How many more years are you gonna keep on getting there, keep on going up against Kansas City and losing? You have to have what Peyton Manning did in 2006 up against the Patriots. That's what needs to happen for you this year. You have to have your moment, or by just the luck of the draw, someone takes out Kansas City, you don't have to go up against them. That defense, and I know Milano was hurt last year, but in that lineup, but that defense, McDermott, he's got to do a better job, especially in big spots where they urinate down their leg. But offensively, you got James Cook back. Big year for Dalton Kincaid. Big year for Keon Coleman. I like Khalil Shakir. Palmer, who they brought in, is a good player too for coming over from the Chargers. I think he's underrated, but 17 is great. And 17 has done enough where he should at least be in a Super Bowl. But there's a lot of pressure to me on McDermott, but it doesn't seem like they're inclined at all to move on from him anytime soon. So I'll go with the Bills there. All righty, we'll take our final break of the day. We'll come on back. We'll update some of the biggest stories of the world of sports with some audio. We'll get to a news brief next. Update time first. Here's the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, Kyle Hamilton is a big factor at the back end of the Ravens defense, and today the team made him the highest paid safety in NFL history. The 24-year-old gets a 4-year extension, $100 million in total, with $82 million guaranteed. Adam Thielen's best days were in Minnesota, and he's back there as the Panthers sent the 35-year-old receiver to the Vikings for a second tour of duty. Carolina gets back a 5th-round pick next year and a 4th-rounder in 2027. Trevor Lawrence needs a bounce-back year and a big receiver. The latter accomplished today when the Jaguars acquired 6'5" Tim Patrick from the Lions for a late-round draft choice. Rashee Rice received a 6-game suspension by the NFL stemming from a 2024 multi-vehicle car crash when he was traveling at a rate of 119 miles per hour. The Patriots granted Kendrick Bourne's wish and released the wide receiver. Couple of day games in the major leagues today. Right now, Eugenio Suarez's 42nd home run, a 3-run shot. The Mariners lead the Padres 4-0 in the top of the 6th. Earlier, the Yankees with 6 home runs in an 11-2 sweep of the Nationals. The Braves got a pair from Jurickson and Profar to beat the Marlins 12-1, and the Guardians topped the Rays in 10-4-3. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network. That's it. Play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. From the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
It's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Corey in Dallas says, Zach, what percentage do you give Micah Parsons to play Week 1 for the Cowboys up against the Eagles? You can submit a question by tweeting at INF Sports or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. I think it's like 90%. I think he's playing Week 1 for the Dallas Cowboys. And I think he is going to play this season for the Dallas Cowboys. But I'll give you a little bit more tomorrow on a Micah Parsons pie chart. I'm just calculating the numbers using my big-time formulas, my math equations, and all that to see what other teams can maybe enter the race here for Micah Parsons. And I'll give you some percentages. The Zach Gelb pie chart literally has never failed. We've done 4 of them. I've been right on every single one. I correctly predicted where Aaron Rodgers is going to go. I correctly predicted where Shedeur Sanders is going to go. And there were some other options. Oh, the Knicks. I said if Mike Brown was going to be their coach, too. All righty, let's update you some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. We get to a news brief right now.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Big Ed Kelsey. He was on WEWS. It's the ABC affiliate in Cleveland. Are you prepared for the circus that's going to come with your son being engaged now to Taylor Swift?
Kind of funny. About a week ago, I asked Travis, I said, "So when are you going to announce the engagement?" He said, "Whenever Taylor says so."
First lesson.
Smart man.
First lesson of being married. Are you prepared? Are you and Donna prepared for what's ahead? I mean, this is going to be like a royal wedding type of.
I think we're as prepared as you can be for something like this. This is still the little kid they raised at home. Yes, they've both had a lot of success in their endeavors, and they get a lot of notoriety and a lot of attention. But they're still the same people that we raised, and it just makes you feel good to see a couple this much in love.
And let's hear another one from Ed Kelsey. How did your son Travis Kelsey propose to Taylor Swift? This once again is on the ABC affiliate in Cleveland. Here is Big Ed Kelsey.
He was going to put it off till this week. I think she was getting maybe a little antsy, but he was going to put it off till this week to, make some grand thing to make it a big special event. And I told him repeatedly, you could do it on the side of the road, do it any place. That makes it a special event when you get down on one knee and ask her to marry you. And it helped that Scott Swift was telling him the same thing. So he made a nice little floral garden around a gazebo in the place where it is in Lee Summit now. He got her out there, supposed to go out to dinner. He said, "Let's go out and have a glass of wine." And she got out there, and they got out there, and that's when he asked her, and it was beautiful. She got, they started FaceTiming me and their mother and her folks to make sure everybody knew. So it's to see them together is great. They're just two young people very much in love, cast in a spotlight that they really haven't sought, but kind of followed with their success in their respective fields.
My favorite part about that is, like, you could just pull off to the side of the road and do it. Imagine if you were just driving and Taylor Swift's getting engaged to Travis Kelce on the side of the road. Like, I'm going to see Nico this weekend at Marash's house. Let's say we're driving around Babylon and she was just there on the side of the road with Travis Kelce down on one knee. I don't think that was going to happen. Let's go to Mike McDaniel. Everyone knew about this. Mike McDaniel was on Dan Patrick's show today, and Dan Patrick actually broke the engagement news to Mike McDaniel because Mike McDaniel is just oblivious to everything.
Speaking of love, your reaction to Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift getting engaged was what?
Oh, you just told me. I didn't know.
Wait, how?
So that's my reaction.
Bull crap.
How do you not know?
Well, you keep yourself from anything that's multimedia, and then you make yourself a terrible conversation when people bring up pop culture. And you do that over time, and then you don't know anything that you, I'm pumped to hear about it now, I guess.
I'm sure.
I think there's layers to my reaction. I'm hoping it's a love-based relationship, and good for them. I mean, finally they're doing it the old-fashioned way, where people shouldn't really enter into any escapades unless they're married.
What the F is that dude talking about? That dude's an idiot. Like, I'm sorry. I can't listen to him speak anymore. Enough. All you have to say is, oh, that's news to me, which I don't believe that's the first time he's finding out about that. Oh, that's news to me. Like, congratulations. Wish him the best. Instead of whatever he just said. That was a word salad. Here is Shoddy, Brian Schottenheimer. Did he talk to Micah Parsons after the incident on the sideline to wrap up the preseason?
Yeah, Mike and I had a long conversation. Probably talked for an hour about a lot of different things and addressed a number of different issues and things like that. And at this point, I'm going to keep that between he and I. But we had a very, very good conversation.
And can Micah Parsons play week 1 without any practice?
At the end of the day, as soon as he can get out there, that's great. But again, there'll be a ramp-up plan for him. And, when he lines up out there to play, do I think he would play 75 plays in every play? Probably not. I don't think that that's real. But I do think that he can be very disruptive, like we all know.
All right, let's go to Matt Schneidman, who was on the Pat McAfee show. He covers the Packers. Are the Packers interested in Micah Parsons? Let's hear.
Yeah, I think right now, to my knowledge, Jerry's not even listening to trade offers, so I'm not sure that an actual trade offer can be made unless he picks up the phone. So the Packers may have, an outline of what they would offer, but if Jerry Jones isn't listening to legitimate trade offers, then I'm not sure that one is technically on the table. It's semantics, but if he does entertain it, from what I've heard, the Packers will be interested and will be in the mix. And it would really take the Packers to the next level. What would it take if this were to become a reality? It would be multiple first-round picks at least, and I think a player like a wide receiver. I'm not sure they would have to give up any edge rushers, but it might be a player like a Romeo Doubs or a Dontavian Wicks, plus a couple first-round picks and maybe more draft capital later in the draft.
Yeah, like 2 first-round picks, Romeo Doubs, and some later capital. I would absolutely do that. I have no problem doing that. And that would make the Packers into a legit Super Bowl contender instead of just being a really good team right now. Let's go to Aaron Rodgers, former Packers quarterback, also former Jet quarterback, now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was on with Adam Shine on Sports. Does life feel better now than with the fact that he's actually a married man these days?
Everything in my life is better. Is that what you're talking about? That's
yeah.
I met my wife 8 years ago, and I wish I had married her 8 years ago because life would have been a whole lot easier and a whole lot more enjoyable. But yeah, definitely changes things. I feel like made a lot of big life decisions this off season. Got married, got a dog, moved to Pittsburgh. Kind of the trifecta there.
Got married, got a dog, moved to Pittsburgh. Was that Shep or was that Rodgers with all that whispering? Jeez. Like, Rodgers, he sounds miserable while he's trying to tell you that he's happy. And also, oh yeah, I first met my wife 8 years ago. Now, there was obviously other women in between, but how is this lady still a mystery lady? Let's go to Dave Portnoy. He calls Ohio State broken.
Listen, in Ohio State, people are eating it up because obviously when the story broke, everyone's like, oh my God, Ohio State is so soft. Michigan broke them. Woody Hayes is rolling around in his grave. If you can't beat them, ban them. Like, they're broken. It's a broken team, a broken school. Oh, national championship this, national championship that. One man this face and they start crying. They're broken.
Caden Salter is going to start for Colorado. It's going to be Colorado and Georgia Tech in week 1. Coach Prime named his starting quarterback. Let's hear the announcement.
Feeling darn good about it. We got two guys that are capable of getting the job done. Caden Salter's going to start. You guys knew that. I don't know why you tried to play like he was going to start. The kid has a ton of experience, dual threat. He can throw the heck out of the ball as well. He's the guy. He's the guy at this point. We're praying and we're hoping that you see some juju periodically through the game as well. We would like to get him some reps as well, but the game predicates that.
All righty, so there you go. Caden Salter's going to start. We'll see when Juju ends up becoming the full-time starting quarterback. There, Salter, who is transferring over from Liberty, is going to be able to maintain the job the rest of the year. I look at Colorado this year. If they are if they hit their over-under, I know Danny Kanell said it was 5.5. I saw it somewhere at 6.5. If they're a 6 or 7 win football team, to me, that's a successful season for them. Just get bowl eligibility again, especially with what you lost at Shador and Travis. I think we could all say that, hey, that's a heck of a job by Coach Prime. All righty, that will do it for the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. Big thanks to Drew Brees for stopping on by today, Ryan Hot Take Hickey, and also the aforementioned Danny Kanell. Samter, thank you. Nico, thank you. Ack, thank you. And also a big thanks, and most importantly, the biggest thanks to each and every one of you for tuning on in. Talk manana, everybody. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
It is the JR Sport Brief show here on the Infinity Sports Network. Come to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you to everybody for being tuned in, for being locked in all over North America. Happy Wednesday. Hope you had a tremendous day so far. It's going to be my job to get you over the hump. That is Wednesday, to get you closer to the weekend. That's exactly what I will do. This is when the show gets started every weekday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. I am in at